The void of space erupted in a blinding flash as the Novastrike tore through the fabric of reality, emerging from its quantum jump directly in the heart of the swarm fleet. Captain Axel Voron's hands tightened on the command chair's armrests, his scarred face illuminated by the holographic displays surrounding him. "Status report," he barked, ice-blue eyes scanning the tactical overlay. Lieutenant Kirichen's fingers danced across her console. "Jump successful, Captain. We're surrounded by approximately 3,000 swarm vessels. They're scrambling to react." Axel allowed himself a grim smile. The element of surprise was theirs, but it wouldn't last long. Shields at maximum. Bring the quantum cascade laser online. A hushed tension fell over the bridge. This was the moment they'd trained for, the culmination of years of sacrifice and secrecy. The quantum cascade laser was humanity's last, desperate hope against the relentless swarm. "QCL powering up, Captain," reported Commander Zain Malik, his usually calm voice tinged with excitement. 30 seconds to full charge." On the main view screen, the swarm ships swarmed in chaotic patterns, their hive minds struggling to comprehend and counter this new threat. Axel could almost taste their confusion, their fear. "Open a channel to the swarm," Axel ordered. "Let's see if we can end this without bloodshed." The communications officer, Ensign Tomas Rodriguez, worked his controls. "Channel open, sir." Axel stood, his imposing figure casting a shadow across the bridge. "Attention, Swarm Collective. This is Captain Axel Voron of the Use Novastrike. We possess a weapon capable of annihilating your entire fleet. Stand down and withdraw from human space or face extinction." The response was immediate and unexpected. A cacophony of alien screams flooded the bridge, a sound so primal and terrified that several crew members flinched. Axel's eyes widened in surprise. "Sir," Kira's voice was filled with awe, "I'm detecting massive energy fluctuations within the swarm ships. It's like they're tearing themselves apart from the inside." Zane's console erupted in a series of urgent beeps. "Captain, the QCL is fully charged, but something's wrong. The energy readings are off the charts." Axel's mind raced. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. The swarm's reaction was beyond anything they had anticipated, and now the very weapon they had pinned their hopes on was behaving erratically. "Abort firing sequence," Axel commanded, a cold dread settling in his stomach. But it was too late. The bow of the Novastrike began to glow with an unearthly light, tendrils of energy arcing across its hull. The swarm's screams reached a fever pitch, and then silence. For a moment that stretched into eternity, the universe seemed to hold its breath. Then, with a sound that defied description, a beam of pure, distilled energy erupted from the Novastrike. It lanced through space, cutting through swarm ships like they were made of paper. But it didn't stop there. The beam continued, slicing into the very fabric of space-time itself. As reality began to fracture around them, Axel realized with horror that they had awakened something ancient and terrible. The war with the swarm suddenly seemed insignificant in comparison to what they had just unleashed. "All hands, brace for impact," Axel shouted as the universe itself seemed to scream in agony around them. The quantum horizon had been breached, and nothing would ever be the same again. The Novastrike shuddered violently as reality warped around it. Sparks showered from overloading consoles, and the acrid smell of burning circuitry filled the air. Captain Axel Voron clung to his command chair, shouting orders over the chaos. "Zane, shut down the QCL now. Kira, get us out of here." Commander Zain Malik's fingers flew over his console. "I can't, sir. The system's locked up. It's like it has a mind of its own." Lieutenant Kirichen's voice was strained. "Quantum drives offline. We're dead in the water, Captain." Through the view screen, Axel watched in horror as the beam from the quantum cascade laser continued to tear through space. The swarm ships caught in its path simply ceased to exist, not destroyed but erased from reality itself. But beyond them, something impossible was happening. The stars were moving. "Sir," Ensign Rodriguez called out, his voice trembling. "We're receiving a transmission. It's not from the swarm." Axel's blood ran cold. "Source?" "Unknown, sir. It's coming from everywhere." "Put it through." The bridge speakers crackled to life, and a voice that seemed to bypass their ears and speak directly into their minds filled the air. It was neither male nor female, neither young nor old, and it spoke in a language none of them had ever heard before. Yet somehow they all understood. "The horizon has been breached. The sleepers awaken. All that was hidden shall be revealed." As the voice faded, the beam from the QCL finally sputtered and died. The silence that followed was deafening. Axel took a deep breath, steadying himself. "Damage report." Kira's voice was grim. "Hull integrity at 62%. Life support stable. Weapons systems offline. Quantum drive. Sir, the quantum drive is gone." "Gone? What do you mean, gone?" "I mean it's not there anymore. Sensors show an empty space where it should be." Axel's mind raced. The implications were staggering. What about the swarm? Zane studied his readings. "Scattered, sir. The ones that weren't erased seem to be in disarray. But Captain, that's not our biggest problem." He gestured to the main view screen. Where once there had been the familiar starscape of the Orion Arm, there was now an alien sky. Vast, impossible structures floated in the void, their geometries defying human comprehension. "Where are we?" Axel whispered. Before anyone could respond, a new alert sounded. Kira's eyes widened as she read the sensor data. "Captain, we're detecting a massive energy signature. Something's coming through." The space before them seemed to fold in on itself, and from the rift emerged a ship. But to call it merely a ship would be like calling a supernova a spark. It was a construct of pure energy, its form constantly shifting and reshaping itself. "Incoming transmission," Rodriguez reported, his voice barely above a whisper. Axel nodded, his throat dry. On screen. The image that appeared was unlike anything they had ever seen. It was a being of light, its features constantly flowing and changing. When it spoke, its voice resonated with power. "Children of Earth," it said, "you have opened the door. The quantum horizon has been breached, and the great cycle begins anew. We are the ethereals, guardians of the cosmic balance. Your actions have awakened forces beyond your comprehension." Axel stood, facing the image with all the courage he could muster. "I am Captain Axel Voren of the Use Nova Strike. We meant no harm. Our weapon was designed to end a war, not this." The ethereal's form pulsed. "Intent matters not. The precursor's failsafe has been triggered. The universe as you know it will be unmade and remade. You now stand at a crossroads of cosmic significance." As the weight of their situation settled on the crew, Axel realized that the war with a swarm was now the least of their concerns. They had stumbled onto a stage far grander and more terrifying than they could have imagined. The fate of all existence now hung in the balance, and somehow they were at the center of it all. Captain Axel Voren's mind raced as he processed the ethereal's words. The fate of the universe hanging in the balance was far beyond the scope of his military training, but he knew he had to act. "What exactly is this crossroads you speak of?" Axel asked, his voice steady despite the turmoil within. The ethereal's form shimmered, its voice resonating through the bridge. "The quantum cascade laser has triggered the precursor's failsafe. It was designed to reset the universe should it ever fall into chaos. But this reset is not without cost. Entire civilizations will be erased, realities rewritten. You stand at the precipice of this change." Kira's console beeped urgently. "Captain, I'm detecting massive energy fluctuations throughout the sector. It's as if reality itself is unraveling." Axel's jaw clenched. "Is there a way to stop this failsafe?" The ethereal pulsed, its light dimming slightly. "The failsafe can be halted, but it requires a journey to the nexus point, the heart of creation itself. Few have ever glimpsed it and returned sane." "Sir," Zane interjected, his eyes wide with realization. The QCL, it's not just a weapon, it's a key. Axel turned to his second-in-command. Explain. Zane's fingers flew over his console, bringing up schematics of the quantum cascade laser. The energy signature it's emitting, it's unlike anything we've ever seen. It's as if it's tuned to the very frequency of the universe itself. The ethereal's form brightened. Your insight serves you well, human. The weapon you wield is indeed a key, one forged eons ago by the precursors themselves. It can unlock the path to the nexus point, but the journey will be perilous. Axel's mind was made up. The weight of entire civilizations, including Earth, rested on their shoulders. We'll do it. Guide us to this nexus point. The ethereal's form expanded, enveloping the viewscreen. Brace yourselves. The path to creation is not meant for mortal minds. Suddenly, the Nova Strike lurched, and the crew felt a sensation of falling through infinite space. The ship's hull groaned under immense pressure as reality itself seemed to bend around them. Through the viewscreen, they witnessed impossible sights. Galaxies being born and dying in the span of seconds, civilizations rising and falling like waves on a cosmic ocean. Time and space became meaningless concepts as they hurtled through the very fabric of existence. Axel gripped his chair, fighting waves of nausea and disorientation. "Status report," he managed to call out. Kira's voice was strained. "Hull integrity holding, but barely. Sir, I'm detecting something out there. Multiple somethings. They're following us." As if on cue, dark shapes appeared in their wake. They moved with unnatural speed, their forms defying description, a writhing mass of tentacles and void. Whispers, the ethereal's voice echoed in their minds. Entities that exist between realities. They seek to devour all that is. The whispers closed in, their very presence causing alarm klaxons to blare throughout the ship. Axel knew they couldn't fight in this state, tumbling through the cosmic ether. "Can we go any faster?" he shouted to no one in particular. As if in response to his plea, the QCL suddenly pulsed with energy. The ship lurched forward with renewed speed, leaving the whispers behind in a burst of quantum energy. "The key responds to your will," the ethereal explained. "Your determination fuels its power." As they continued their mind-bending journey, Axel couldn't help but think of Earth, of the war with the swarm, of all they had left behind. Had it only been hours since they fired that fateful shot, it felt like lifetimes. The viewscreen suddenly flared with blinding light, forcing everyone to shield their eyes. When they looked again, they saw it a swirling vortex of pure energy, more vast than any star or galaxy. "The nexus point," the ethereal announced, "the birthplace of all realities." As they approached the cosmic maelstrom, Axel realized that their true trial was only beginning. Whatever lay beyond that threshold would determine the fate of not just their universe, but all possible universes. With a deep breath, he gave the order. "Take us in." The Nova Strike plunged into the heart of creation, and reality as they knew it fell away. As the Nova Strike pierced the veil of the nexus point, reality fractured around them. The ship's hull creaked and groaned, stressed beyond its design limits. Axel's vision blurred, his mind struggling to process the incomprehensible sights before him. "All hands, report," he managed to call out, his voice sounding distant and distorted to his own ears. Responses came in fragments, the crew's voices phasing in and out of existence. "Hull integrity, fluctuating. Sensors, offline. Everything's. Captain, I can't. My hands are." Axel tried to focus, to anchor himself in this sea of chaos. The viewscreen showed impossible geometries, colors that shouldn't exist, and visions of past, present, and future all overlapping. The ethereal's voice resonated within their minds, a beacon of stability in the madness. "Focus your thoughts. Your consciousness shapes reality here. United, you can navigate the currents of creation." Gritting his teeth, Axel reached out with his mind, trying to connect with his crew. He felt their presence, Kira's sharp intellect, Zane's steady resolve, Tomas' youthful determination. Together, they formed a mental bulwark against the chaos. Slowly, the maelstrom around them began to calm. The impossible visions coalesced into a singular scene, a vast chamber of swirling energy. At its center, a pulsing core of pure light. The heart of the Nexus, the ethereal explained, the source of all realities. As they marveled at the sight, a dark tendril suddenly lashed out from the void, wrapping itself around the Novastrike. Alarms blared as the ship was yanked backwards. "Whispers," Zane shouted. "They've followed us through." More tendrils emerged, a writhing mass of darkness threatening to engulf them. The ship's engines strained against the assault, but they were being pulled away from the Nexus core. Axel's mind raced. They were so close, but the Whisper's attack was relentless. Then, a realization struck him. "The QCL," he said, his voice gaining strength. "Zane, can we fire it here?" Zane's fingers flew over his console. "Theoretically, yes, but the energy readings here are off the charts. There's no telling what it might do." "We don't have a choice," Axel decided. "Charge the quantum cascade laser. Full power." As the weapon powered up, the chamber around them began to react. Streams of energy from the Nexus core flowed towards the Novastrike, drawn to the QCL like moths to a flame. The ethereal's voice rang out in warning. "Beware. The energies you manipulate here can reshape reality itself. Your intentions, your very thoughts, will guide the outcome." Axel stood, facing the view screen and the writhing mass of whispers beyond. He thought of Earth, of the countless civilizations threatened by the Precursor's failsafe, of the future they were fighting for. "Fire," he commanded. The quantum cascade laser erupted, its beam amplified 1,000-fold by the energies of the Nexus. It struck the Whispers, and for a moment, everything went white. When Axel's vision cleared, he found himself standing in a vast, empty space. His crew was gone, the Novastrike had vanished, and even the Whispers were nowhere to be seen. There was only him and the pulsing core of the Nexus. A voice, both familiar and alien, spoke from everywhere and nowhere. "You have come far, Axel Voren, but your journey is not yet complete." From the light emerged a figure, a mirror image of Axel himself, but older, wearier, with eyes that held the weight of eons. "Who are you?" Axel asked, though part of him already knew the answer. The figure smiled sadly. "I am you, from a future that must not come to pass. I am the last guardian of the Nexus, and I have waited an eternity for this moment." As Axel struggled to comprehend this revelation, he realized that the fate of all realities now rested on what would happen next. The true test was about to begin. Axel stood face to face with his future self, the pulsing heart of the Nexus casting ethereal shadows around them. The weight of countless realities pressed down upon his shoulders as he struggled to find his voice. "Why are you here?" Axel finally asked, studying the weathered features of his older counterpart. The future Axel's eyes gleamed with a mixture of sorrow and determination. "To prevent the catastrophe that led to my timeline. In my future, we failed here. The Whispers consumed everything, reality itself unraveled, and I've spent millennia trying to find a way back to this moment." Axel's mind reeled at the implications. "How? How did we fail?" "We underestimated the power we wielded," his older self explained, gesturing to the swirling energies around them. "The quantum cascade laser, when fired here, became a conduit for raw creation itself. But our fear, our desperation, tainted that power. We gave form to our nightmares, and the Whispers grew stronger than ever before." A chill ran down Axel's spine as he remembered the ethereal's warning about intentions shaping reality. "So what do we do now?" The future Axel stepped closer, his form flickering like a fading hologram. "We must reshape reality, but with hope and determination instead of fear. The Nexus responds to the will of those who reach its core. Together, we have the power to rewrite the cosmic code itself." Suddenly, the void around them shuddered. Tendrils of darkness began seeping in from the edges of existence. The Whispers had found them. "We don't have much time," the older Axel urged. Focus your mind. Think of the future you want to create, not just for humanity, but for all sentient life. Axel closed his eyes, reaching out with his thoughts. He envisioned a universe of cooperation instead of conflict, of exploration instead of exploitation. He thought of the swarm not as enemies, but as potential allies against the true threats that lurked between realities. As his concentration deepened, he felt other presences joining him. Somehow, across the gulf of space-time, the minds of his crew connected with his. Kira's analytical brilliance, Zane's unwavering loyalty, Tomas' boundless optimism all flowed into a singular purpose. The Nexus core pulsed brighter, tendrils of pure creation energy stretching out to envelop them. The encroaching darkness of the whispers recoiled, hissing in defiance. "Now," shouted the future Axel, his form beginning to dissolve, "rewrite the story of our universe." With a final surge of will, Axel pushed his vision into the swirling energies of the Nexus. Reality itself seemed to hold its breath for a moment, and then a blinding flash engulfed everything. When Axel opened his eyes, he found himself back on the bridge of the Nova Strike. His crew looked around in confusion, as if awakening from a deep sleep. "Status report," Axel called out, his voice hoarse. Kira blinked rapidly, checking her console. "All systems operational, Captain. But something's different." Zane's voice was filled with awe. "Sir, you need to see this." The main view screen flickered to life, showing a vista that took Axel's breath away. The swarm fleet was still there, but they were no longer in attack formation. Instead, the alien ships seemed to be dancing, swirling in complex patterns that spoke of celebration rather than aggression. "We're receiving a transmission," Tomas announced. "It's from the swarm, but it's like nothing we've ever received before." As the message played, Axel realized he could understand it perfectly. The swarm was not just communicating, they were singing. A song of unity, of awakening, of a shared destiny among the stars. Tears welled up in Axel's eyes as he understood what had happened. They had done it. They had reshaped reality, not through destruction, but through the power of hope and unity. As the Nova Strike hung in space, surrounded by the transformed swarm fleet, Axel knew that their journey was far from over. The universe had changed, and with it, their role in the cosmic story. The quantum horizon had been crossed, and a new era of exploration and cooperation was dawning. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them not as separate species, but as fellow travelers in the vast ocean of existence. Axel smiled, feeling the weight of alternate timelines and cosmic responsibilities fading away. "Helm," he said, his voice filled with renewed purpose, "set a course for Earth. We have a new future to build." As the Nova Strike's engines hummed to life, Axel couldn't help but feel that this was not an end, but a beginning. The true adventure was just starting. The journey back to Earth was unlike anything the crew of the Nova Strike had experienced before. As they navigated through space, they witnessed the profound changes their actions at the Nexus had wrought upon the universe. Stars that had once been lifeless now pulsed with vibrant energy. Barren planets showed signs of burgeoning ecosystems, and perhaps most astonishingly, they encountered numerous alien vessels, all of which greeted the Nova Strike with peaceful overtures. Captain Axel Voren stood at the helm, his posture relaxed but his mind racing. "Kira, what's our ETA to Earth?" Lieutenant Chen consulted her instruments. "At our current velocity, we should reach Earth space in approximately 12 hours, Captain." Axel nodded, then turned to his communications officer. "Tomas, have you made any progress deciphering the new transmissions we're receiving?" Ensign Rodriguez's fingers danced across his console. "It's remarkable, sir. The universal translator is working better than ever. It's as if the very fabric of space is facilitating communication between species." Commander Zain Malik approached Axel, his expression thoughtful. "Captain, I've been analyzing the data from our encounter at the Nexus. The implications are staggering. We didn't just reshape our reality, we seem to have optimized it for life and cooperation." Axel's brow furrowed. Optimized? How so? Well, for one, Zane explained, the fundamental constants of the universe appear to have been fine-tuned. The cosmological constant, the strength of the nuclear forces, they're all perfectly balanced now to support diverse forms of life across a much wider range of environments. As if to underscore Zane's point, the ship's sensors chimed. Kira's eyes widened as she read the incoming data. Captain, you're going to want to see this. We're picking up signs of intelligent life. From Jupiter's moons. The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. Earth's solar system, once thought to harbor life only on a single blue planet, was now teeming with potential. Axel was about to respond when another alert sounded. Tomas straightened in his chair. Sir, we're receiving a priority transmission. From Earth. On screen, Axel commanded, bracing himself for whatever news awaited them. The viewscreen flickered to life, revealing the face of Admiral Helena Frost, her usually stern features softened by an expression of wonder. Captain Voren, thank God you're alive. We've been experiencing some unprecedented events here. Axel nodded grimly. Admiral, I believe we may be responsible for those events. We have a lot to report. As Axel began to recount their incredible journey, he could see the mix of emotions playing across the Admiral's face: disbelief, awe, and a growing sense of the monumental changes that were unfolding. Captain, Admiral Frost interrupted, her voice hushed. While you were gone, we made first contact, not just with a swarm, but with dozens of other species. It's as if the entire galaxy suddenly woke up. Axel exchanged glances with his crew. Their actions had changed everything, far beyond what they could have imagined. There's more, sir, Kira interjected. Long-range scans are showing. It's hard to believe, but it looks like new habitable planets are forming at an accelerated rate throughout the galaxy. The implications were staggering. They hadn't just averted a crisis. They had ushered in a new age of cosmic fertility and cooperation. Admiral Frost's voice cut through Axel's thoughts. Captain, I'm ordering the Nova Strike to return to Earth immediately. The Unsecurity Council is convening an emergency session, and they want you there. We need to understand what's happened and plan our next steps. Axel straightened, feeling the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders once more. Understood, Admiral. We're on our way. As the transmission ended, Axel turned to his crew. Their faces showed a mix of excitement and apprehension, mirroring his own feelings. Well, he said, managing a small smile, it seems our mission isn't quite over yet. Let's go home and face this brave new universe we've created. As the Nova Strike accelerated towards Earth, Axel couldn't shake the feeling that their greatest challenges and greatest adventures still lay ahead. The quantum horizon had been crossed, and the true impact of their journey was only beginning to unfold. The Nova Strike's return to Earth was nothing short of spectacular. As they entered the solar system, they were greeted by a breathtaking sight, a massive space station unlike anything they had ever seen before, orbiting at the Lagrange point between Earth and the Moon. My God, Zane whispered, his eyes wide with wonder. That wasn't there when we left. Kira's console beeped insistently. Captain, I'm detecting multiple ships approaching. They're of alien design, sir. Before Axel could respond, the comm system crackled to life. A melodious voice, somehow both alien and familiar, filled the bridge. Welcome home, Nova Strike. We've been eagerly awaiting your return. Axel exchanged glances with his crew before responding. This is Captain Axel Voren. We're grateful for the welcome. May I ask who I'm speaking with? A shimmer of light appeared on the bridge, coalescing into a holographic form. It was humanoid, but clearly not human. Its skin had a faint luminescence, and its eyes held depths of wisdom that seemed ancient beyond measure. I am Zarak, representative of the newly formed Galactic Concord, the being said, its voice resonating with warmth. Your actions at the Nexus have ushered in a new era of cooperation and understanding. We have much to discuss. As the Nova Strike docked with the massive space station, Axel and his core crew were escorted to a vast chamber, unlike anything they had ever seen. Representatives from dozens of species filled the room, their forms as varied as the stars themselves. Admiral Frost was there to greet them, her usual stoic demeanor replaced by barely contained excitement. "Captain Voran, your timing is impeccable. We're about to begin the first session of the Galactic Concord Council." As they took their seats, Zarak addressed the assembly. "Esteemed representatives, we stand at the dawn of a new age. The barriers between our civilizations have fallen, and we find ourselves united in ways we never thought possible." The alien continued, gesturing towards Axel and his crew. "Thanks to the actions of these brave humans, the very fabric of our reality has been reshaped. The quantum horizon they crossed has opened up possibilities beyond our wildest dreams." Holographic displays flickered to life around the chamber, showing scenes from across the galaxy. Axel watched in awe as barren worlds blossomed with life, as new stars ignited in stellar nurseries, as species that were once mortal enemies now worked side by side. "But with this great gift comes great responsibility," Zarak cautioned. "We must learn to navigate this new reality together. The power to shape existence itself is now within our collective grasp. We must use it wisely." As the council delved into discussions about the implications of their new reality, Axel found his mind wandering. He thought about the future version of himself he had met at the Nexus, about the catastrophe they had averted. Had that timeline been erased? Or was it still out there, a grim reminder of what could have been? His musings were interrupted by a gentle touch on his arm. He turned to see an alien being, its form reminiscent of a sentient crystal, regarding him with what he somehow knew was curiosity. "You carry a great burden, Captain Voran," the being said, its voice chiming like crystal bells in his mind. "The echoes of alternate timelines still resonate within you." Axel's eyes widened in surprise. "You can sense that?" The crystalline being's facets shimmered. "In this new reality, many of us have developed abilities we once thought impossible. The boundaries between mind and matter, between past and future, have become fluid." As Axel pondered the implications of this, Admiral Frost's voice cut through the chamber. "Captain Voran, the Council would like to hear your full account of what transpired at the Nexus." Standing up, Axel took a deep breath. As he began to recount their incredible journey, he realized that this was more than just a debriefing. It was the beginning of a new chapter in the story of all sentient life. The quantum horizon had been crossed, and the universe would never be the same. As Axel spoke, he couldn't help but feel that their greatest adventures still lay ahead, in this brave new cosmos they had helped to create. As Axel concluded his account of the Nova Strike's journey to the Nexus, a hushed silence fell over the Galactic Concord Council chamber. The weight of their actions, the sheer scale of the changes they had wrought upon the universe, seemed to press down upon everyone present. Zarak was the first to break the silence. "Captain Voran, your bravery and that of your crew is beyond measure. You've given us all a second chance, a new beginning. But I fear our challenges are far from over." Admiral Frost leaned forward, her brow furrowed. "What do you mean, Zarak?" The alien's luminescent form shimmered with concern. "The reshaping of reality has had unforeseen consequences. While we've gained much, we've also awakened forces that have long slumbered." As if on cue, the chamber's holographic displays flickered, showing scenes from across the galaxy. Axel watched in growing alarm as strange anomalies appeared on various worlds' rifts in space-time, areas where the laws of physics seemed to break down, and shadowy entities that defied description. "The whispers," Axel breathed, recognizing the dark, writhing forms. Zarak nodded gravely. "Yes, Captain. In optimizing our reality for life and cooperation, we've also made it more permeable. The boundaries between dimensions have weakened. The whispers, and other entities like them, now find it easier to intrude upon our realm." The crystalline being that had spoken to Axel earlier chimed in, its voice resonating through the minds of all present. "We stand at a crossroads. Our newfound unity gives us strength, but it also makes us a target for forces that feed on chaos and division. Admiral Frost's voice was steel. Then we'll face these threats together. Captain Voran, I believe the Nova Strike and its crew are uniquely qualified to lead this effort. Your experiences at the Nexus have prepared you for this. Axel felt a mix of determination and trepidation. Admiral, with all due respect, we're explorers, not interdimensional peacekeepers. Zarak's form brightened. Perhaps, Captain, that is exactly what we need. This new reality requires a new approach. Exploration, understanding, and unity may be our greatest weapons against these threats. As the Council erupted into discussion, debating strategies and forming alliances, Axel felt a strange sensation. The world around him seemed to blur, and for a moment he thought he saw something else. A glimpse of another reality, perhaps, or an echo of what might have been. In that fleeting vision, he saw a devastated Earth, a galaxy consumed by darkness. He saw himself, older and weary, standing alone against the encroaching void. And he understood this was the future they had averted, the timeline his future self had warned him about. The vision faded as quickly as it had come, leaving Axel shaken but more determined than ever. He turned to his crew, seeing in their eyes the same resolve he felt. "All right," he said, his voice carrying across the chamber and silencing the debates. "We'll do it. The Nova Strike and her crew will lead this mission. But we do it our way with curiosity, compassion, and the belief that understanding is the key to overcoming any obstacle." Zarak's form pulsed with approval. "Well said, Captain. Let this mark the beginning of a new era of galactic exploration and cooperation." As the council session concluded, plans being made and alliances formed, Axel couldn't help but feel a sense of anticipation. They had crossed the quantum horizon and reshaped reality itself. Now, they would explore the consequences of their actions, facing whatever challenges this new universe had to offer. The Nova Strike would soon depart on a mission unlike any other to explore the farthest reaches of this changed cosmos, to seek out new life and new civilizations, and to stand as a bulwark against the encroaching darkness. As Axel looked out at the stars, he knew that their greatest adventure was just beginning. The quantum horizon had been crossed, but the true journey lay ahead. The Nova Strike hung in space, its sleek hull gleaming in the light of an unfamiliar star. Weeks had passed since their departure from Earth, and already they had witnessed wonders beyond imagination. Captain Axel Voran stood on the bridge, surveying the alien world before them. Its surface shimmered with colors that shouldn't exist, landmasses shifting and reforming in real time. "Kira, what are we looking at?" Axel asked, his voice tinged with awe. Lieutenant Chen's fingers danced across her console. "It's incredible, sir. The planet seems to be in a state of quantum flux. Our sensors indicate it's simultaneously existing in multiple states of evolution." Zane approached, his eyes wide with excitement. "Captain, I believe this might be a side effect of our actions at the Nexus. We're seeing accelerated planetary formation and evolution in real time." Before Axel could respond, Ensign Rodriguez called out from his station. "Sir, we're detecting a signal from the planet's surface. It's asking for help." Axel's brow furrowed. "Help? From whom?" As if in answer, a shimmering portal opened on the bridge. Through it stepped Zarak, the alien representative they had met at the Galactic Concord Council. "My apologies for the dramatic entrance," Zarak said, its form pulsing with urgency. "But time is of the essence. What you see before you is not just a planet in flux, but a nascent consciousness awakening." The crew exchanged startled glances. Axel stepped forward, his voice steady. "Are you saying the planet itself is alive and sentient?" Zarak nodded. "In this new reality we've created, such things are possible, but its awakening has attracted attention." As if on cue, the ship's sensors blared in alarm. Kira's voice was tense as she reported, "Captain, spatial anomalies detected, multiple rifts opening around the planet." Through the viewscreen, they watched in horror as dark, writhing forms began to emerge from tears in the fabric of space. The Whispers had found them. They're drawn to new life, new possibilities, Zarak explained grimly. If they consume this awakening world, the consequences could be catastrophic. Axel's mind raced. They were facing a threat they barely understood, with the fate of an entire world, a newborn consciousness hanging in the balance. Zane, can we use the quantum cascade laser? Axel asked. His second-in-command shook his head. Not without risking further damage to the space-time continuum. Sir, we could end up making things worse. Axel nodded, then turned to Zarak. You said understanding is our greatest weapon. What if we tried to communicate with the planet? Zarak's form brightened. An inspired idea, Captain, but it would require a direct neural interface. The risk to the volunteer would be significant. Without hesitation, Axel stepped forward. I'll do it. Despite protests from his crew, Axel's mind was made up. As Zarak prepared the interface, the Nova Strike moved into a defensive position around the planet, its shield straining against the encroaching Whispers. Axel lay back in the neural interface chair, electrodes attached to his temples. As the system powered up, he felt a rush of sensation, unlike anything he had ever experienced. Suddenly, he was everywhere and nowhere, his consciousness expanding to encompass the entire planet. He felt the pulse of newfound life, the wonder of awakening, and the terror of the approaching threat. I'm here to help, Axel projected his thoughts into the swirling consciousness of the planet. We can face this threat together. The response came not in words, but in feelings and images. Curiosity, fear, and a desperate plea for guidance. As the Whispers closed in, Axel realized the truth. The planet wasn't just asking for protection. It was seeking understanding, a way to define its own existence in this strange new reality. With a surge of inspiration, Axel opened his mind fully, sharing not just his knowledge, but his experiences, his hopes, and his fears. He showed the planet the vastness of the cosmos, the beauty of cooperation between species, and the power of choice. The effect was immediate and astonishing. The planet's surface began to glow, emitting waves of energy that pushed back against the encroaching Whispers. It wasn't just defending itself, it was defining itself, choosing its place in the universe. As Axel's consciousness returned to his body, he opened his eyes to see his crew staring at him in amazement. Through the viewscreen, he watched as the Whispers retreated, repelled by the sheer force of a newborn world's self-realization. Zarak's voice was filled with wonder. You've done it, Captain. You've helped birth a new form of life, one that can stand against the darkness. As the Nova Strike's sensors confirmed the Whispers' retreat, Axel realized that they had just witnessed something unprecedented. They hadn't just saved a world, they had helped shape the very nature of life in this new universe. The implications were staggering, and Axel knew their journey was far from over. But for now, as they watched the newly awakened planet pulsing with vibrant life, he allowed himself a moment of pure, unadulterated awe. The quantum horizon continued to unfold before them, filled with challenges and wonders beyond imagination, and the Nova Strike and her crew were ready to face whatever came next. The Nova Strike cruised through the cosmos, its hull bearing the marks of their recent encounters. Captain Axel Voren stood at the viewport, his reflection ghostly against the backdrop of swirling nebulae and newborn stars. Captain, Zane's voice broke through his reverie. We're approaching the coordinates provided by the Galactic Concord. Axel nodded, turning to face his crew. The past few months had changed them all. Their eyes held the weight of impossible experiences, yet burned with an unquenchable curiosity. What do we know about this place, Kira? Axel asked, moving to the central holographic display. Lieutenant Chen's fingers danced across her console, bringing up a swirling mass of data. It's difficult to say, sir. Our sensors are having trouble getting a clear read. It's as if space itself is folded here. The main view screen flickered to life, showing their destination. What they saw defied description. It appeared to be a massive structure, yet it seemed to phase in and out of existence, its geometry shifting in ways that hurt the eyes to follow. "By all that's holy," Zane whispered, "what is that?" Before anyone could respond, a familiar shimmer announced the arrival of Zarak. The alien's form seemed more agitated than usual, pulses of energy racing across its surface. "You've done well to come this far," Zarak said, its voice resonating with urgency. "What you see before you is the Nexus Forge, a remnant of the precursors, and perhaps the key to saving our reality." Axel's brow furrowed. "Saving our reality? I thought we'd already done that at the quantum horizon." Zarak's form dimmed slightly. "What we did was buy time, Captain. But the boundaries between realities continue to weaken. The whispers grow bolder, and other, more terrible entities have begun to take notice of our realm." As if to underscore Zarak's words, the ship's sensors suddenly blared in alarm. Kira's voice was tense as she reported, "Multiple spatial anomalies detected, Captain. They're everywhere." The viewscreen showed a terrifying sight. Rifts were opening all around them, dark tendrils reaching out from beyond. But these weren't just whispers. Axel saw creatures of living flame, beings of pure energy, and things so alien he couldn't begin to comprehend their form. "The Nexus Forge," Zarak explained hurriedly, "was designed to maintain the integrity of our reality. But it's been dormant for eons. We need to reactivate it, to reinforce the barriers between dimensions." Axel's mind raced. "How do we do that?" "The Forge responds to conscious will," Zarak said. "But it requires a focal point, a mind capable of understanding the interconnectedness of all realities." The implication was clear. Axel remembered the neural interface, the sensation of melding his consciousness with an entire planet. This would be far more dangerous, far more all-encompassing. "I'll do it," Axel said, his voice steady despite the fear churning in his gut. As the crew prepared for the perilous mission, Axel took a moment to address them. "Whatever happens," he said, looking each of them in the eye, "know that it's been an honor serving with you. We've seen wonders beyond imagination, faced terrors beyond comprehension. But through it all, it's been your courage, your ingenuity, and your humanity that's pulled us through." With final preparations made, the Nova Strike approached the Nexus Forge. Axel stood at the airlock, ready to make the space walk that would take him to the heart of the ancient structure. As he stepped out into the void, tethered to the ship by a lifeline that seemed impossibly fragile, Axel felt a sense of déjà vu. Once again, he was stepping into the unknown, the fate of all realities resting on his shoulders. The Nexus Forge loomed before him, its shifting form both beautiful and terrifying. As Axel reached out to touch its surface, he felt a surge of energy unlike anything he had ever experienced. In that moment, Axel Voron's consciousness expanded beyond the confines of his physical form. He saw the multiverse in all its infinite complexity, countless realities, each with its own history, its own future, all interconnected in ways he could barely comprehend. And he saw the threat, the encroaching chaos, the entities that sought to devour all of existence. But he also saw hope, the resilience of life, the power of cooperation, the endless potential of consciousness itself. With a supreme effort of will, Axel focused all of his experiences, all of his hopes and fears, into a single purpose. He felt the ancient machinery of the Nexus Forge come to life around him, responding to his consciousness. Reality itself seemed to shudder, and then stabilize. The rifts began to close, the invading entities forced back to their own dimensions. As Axel's consciousness returned to his body, he found himself back on the bridge of the Nova Strike, surrounded by his awestruck crew. "You did it, Captain," Zarak said, its form glowing with admiration. "You've reinforced the foundations of our reality. The threat is not gone, but we now have a fighting chance." Axel looked out at the stars, seeing them with new eyes. The universe, no, the multiverse was vaster and more wondrous than they had ever imagined. And humanity, along with all the other sentient species of their reality, had a crucial role to play in its preservation. As the Nova Strike prepared to return to Earth, to share what they had learned and prepare for the challenges ahead, Axel felt a sense of profound purpose. The quantum horizon had been just the beginning. Their true journey to explore, to understand, and to protect the very fabric of existence was only just starting. The stars beckoned, filled with endless possibilities and untold adventures, and Captain Axel Voren and the crew of the Novastrike were ready to face them all. Captain Axel Voren stood on the observation deck of the Novastrike, his eyes fixed on the swirling vortex of the Nexus Forge. It had been 6 months since they'd activated the ancient precursor device, reinforcing the barriers between realities. 6 months of relative peace. But Axel knew better than to believe it would last. "Captain to the bridge," Zane's voice crackled over the intercom, a note of urgency in his tone that made Axel's spine stiffen. Within moments, Axel strode onto the bridge, the doors hissing shut behind him. "Report," he commanded, taking in the tense postures of his crew. Zane's fingers danced across his console, bringing up a holographic display of what looked like a cosmic web. "Sir, we're detecting massive energy fluctuations across multiple realities. It's like something's eating them." Axel's blood ran cold. Eating realities? Is that even possible? Before anyone could respond, a familiar shimmer announced the arrival of Zarak. The alien's form pulsed with an urgency Axel had never seen before. "Captain Voren," Zarak's voice resonated with fear, "what your sensors have detected is far worse than you can imagine. The activation of the Nexus Forge has awakened an ancient entity, one that we hoped would slumber for eternity." The main viewscreen flickered to life, showing a mass of writhing darkness that seemed to devour light itself. At its core, Axel could make out what looked like a maw of impossible proportions. "We call it the infinite hunger," Zarak continued, "a cosmic horror that feeds on entire realities, and I'm afraid it's set its sights on your Earth." The bridge fell silent as the weight of Zarak's words sank in. Axel's mind raced, trying to comprehend the scale of the threat they faced. "How do we stop it?" Axel asked, his voice steady despite the fear churning in his gut. Zarak's form dimmed slightly. "The infinite hunger exists across multiple dimensions simultaneously. To have any hope of defeating it, we must assemble a team capable of operating on the same level." "What are you suggesting?" Axel pressed, though part of him already knew the answer. "We must gather alternate versions of yourself and your crew from parallel realities," Zarak explained. "Only by combining the unique experiences and abilities of multiple Axel Vorens do we stand a chance of outsmarting this cosmic predator." Axel exchanged glances with his crew, seeing the mix of fear and determination in their eyes. They had faced impossible odds before, but this was beyond anything they had ever imagined. "The Novastrike was designed to navigate between realities," Zane pointed out. "We could use it as our base of operations." Axel nodded, his resolve hardening. "All right, we've saved our reality once. Now it's time to save all of them. Zarak, how do we begin?" The alien's form brightened. "We must journey to the edge of echoes, a place where realities bleed into one another. From there, we can reach out to your alternate selves. But be warned, Captain, some of these alternates may be drastically different from you." As the crew prepared for their most daring mission yet, Axel couldn't shake a feeling of both excitement and dread. They were about to embark on a journey across the multiverse, facing versions of themselves and horrors beyond imagination. The fate of not just their Earth, but all possible Earths, hung in the balance, and as the Novastrike's engines hummed to life, preparing to breach the barriers between realities, Axel Voren steeled himself for the adventure of infinite lifetimes. The echoes of infinity were calling, and humanity's greatest test was about to begin. The Novastrike shuddered as it pierced the veil between realities, emerging into a space that defied comprehension. The edge of echoes lived up to its name. Fractured landscapes from countless worlds overlapped and merged, creating a kaleidoscopic vista that hurt the eyes to observe. "Status report," Axel called out, gripping his chair as the ship stabilized. Kira's fingers danced across her console. "All systems operational, Captain, but our sensors are going haywire." It's like we're everywhere and nowhere at once. Zane studied the readings on his screen, his brow furrowed. I'm detecting multiple energy signatures that match the Nova Strike's quantum signature. I think they're alternate versions of our ship. Axel stood, moving to the main view screen. Can we communicate with them? Before Zane could respond, the screen flickered to life of its own accord. The bridge of another Nova Strike appeared, and Axel found himself staring at himself. But this version was older, his hair gray and his face lined with scars. Well, the other Axel said, a wry smile on his weathered face. Took you long enough to get here. Axel blinked in surprise. You were expecting us? The alternate Axel nodded. We've been monitoring the Infinite Hunger's progress for years. We knew someone would eventually show up to help. Glad it's us. As they spoke, more screens lit up around the bridge, each showing a different version of the Nova Strike and its crew. Axel saw versions of himself from realities where the war against the swarm had gone differently, where Earth had fallen, where humanity had achieved transcendence. One screen showed a version of Axel that was more machine than man, cybernetic implants covering most of his body. Another displayed an Axel in ornate robes, apparently a spiritual leader in his reality. Fascinating, Zarak's voice resonated with awe. The multiverse has produced such diverse iterations of your crew. The cyborg Axel spoke up, his voice tinged with a metallic echo. We don't have time for introductions. The infinite hunger grows stronger with each reality it devours. We need a plan. The spiritual Axel nodded in agreement. We've each faced the hunger in our own realities, but alone, we've only managed to slow its advance. Together, we might stand a chance of stopping it for good. Axel's mind raced with the possibilities. Each of these alternate versions had skills and knowledge he didn't possess. If they could combine their strengths. We need to pool our resources, Axel declared. Share what we know about the infinite hunger, its weaknesses, its patterns. The older Axel grinned. Now you're talking. But we'll need more than just knowledge. We need a weapon capable of affecting multiple realities simultaneously. The cyborg Axel's eyes glowed as he processed this information. In my reality, we developed quantum entangled weaponry. With some modifications, we might be able to create a device that can strike the hunger across dimensions. As the various Axels and their crews began to discuss strategy, Zarak pulled Axel aside. There's something you should know, Captain. The infinite hunger. It's not just consuming realities, it's consuming possibility itself. Axel frowned. What do you mean? Each reality it devours narrows the range of potential futures for all realities, Zarak explained. If we don't stop it soon, it will consume all possible variations of existence, including the ones where we succeed in defeating it. The weight of this revelation settled on Axel's shoulders. They weren't just fighting for their own reality anymore. They were fighting for the very concept of free will across the multiverse. As he turned back to the assembled alternates of himself and his crew, Axel felt a fierce determination well up inside him. They had crossed the quantum horizon and reshaped their own reality. Now, they would have to do the same for all of existence. All right, Axel addressed the multiversal gathering, his voice carrying the authority of a man who had faced the impossible before and won. Let's save infinity. The echoes of infinity resonated with the combined will of countless Axel Vorons, each ready to face the greatest threat the multiverse had ever known. The battle for all of existence was about to begin. The Nova Strike, now serving as the command center for the multiversal coalition, hummed with activity. Axel watched as versions of himself and his crew from various realities worked in seamless coordination, their differences becoming strengths rather than obstacles. The cyborg Axel interfaced directly with the ship's systems, his consciousness expanding through its circuitry. I've integrated the quantum entangled weaponry designs into the Nova Strike's main cannon. Theoretical simulations show a 78% chance of affecting the infinite hunger across multiple realities simultaneously. The spiritual Axel, deep in meditation, opened his eyes. I sense a pattern in the hunger's movements. It's not random consumption, there's a purpose to its path through the multiverse. Axel leaned forward, intrigued. What kind of purpose? It's seeking something, the spiritual Axel replied, his voice tinged with concern. A nexus point where multiple realities converge. If it reaches that point, it could devour entire clusters of universes at once, the older Axel finished, his scarred face grim. Zane, coordinating with his alternates, called out from his station. Captain, we've triangulated the location of this nexus point. It's Earth. Or rather, every version of Earth across the multiverse. A heavy silence fell over the bridge as the implications sank in. Earth wasn't just their home, it was the linchpin of the multiverse itself. Axel's mind raced. We need to intercept the hunger before it reaches the nexus point. But how do we fight something that exists across multiple realities? The cyborg Axel's eyes glowed as he processed the problem. We'll need to synchronize our attacks across dimensions. A simultaneous strike from multiple versions of the Nova Strike, all focused on the hunger's core. And how do we find its core in the chaos of multidimensional space? Axel asked. Zarak, who had been silent until now, stepped forward. There is a way, but it's incredibly dangerous. We can use the Nexus Forge to create a temporary junction point, a place where all realities intersect. From there, you could perceive and target the hunger's true form. The older Axel frowned. But that would expose every reality to the hunger at once. If we fail, everything ends, Axel finished, the weight of the decision heavy on his shoulders. As the various Axels debated the risks, a new alert sounded. Kira's voice was tense as she reported. Multiple realities going dark. Captain, the hunger is accelerating its advance. We're running out of time. Axel stood, his resolve hardening. We don't have a choice. We make our stand at the junction point. All versions of the Nova Strike will converge there. We hit the hunger with everything we've got, across every reality. The assembled alternates nodded in agreement, each returning to their own ships to prepare for the battle that would decide the fate of all existence. As the Nova Strike prepared to jump to the coordinates of the junction point, Axel felt a hand on his shoulder. He turned to see Zarak, the alien's form pulsing with an emotion he couldn't quite identify. Captain Vorin, Zarak said, its voice resonating with a mix of admiration and sadness. You should know, the junction point is inherently unstable. Whoever activates it from within may not survive the collapse. Axel nodded, understanding the unspoken implication. I'll do it. This is our fight, our responsibility. As he gave the order to jump, Axel couldn't help but wonder in how many realities had he made this same choice. How many versions of himself were preparing to sacrifice everything for the chance to save all of existence? The Nova Strike's engines flared to life, propelling them towards a confrontation that would echo across infinity. The final battle against the infinite hunger was about to begin, and the fate of the multiverse hung in the balance. The Nova Strike emerged from its quantum jump into a scene of cosmic chaos. The junction point was a maelstrom of colliding realities, each one bleeding into the next. Through the viewscreen, Axel could see countless versions of Earth, some familiar, others wildly alien. All ships, report in, Axel commanded, his voice steady despite the awe-inspiring view before him. One by one, the alternate Nova Strikes confirmed their presence. Dozens of ships, each crewed by a different version of Axel and his team, formed a defensive perimeter around the junction point. Zane's console lit up with urgent alerts. Captain, the infinite hunger is approaching. Multiple realities are collapsing in its wake. The viewscreen shifted, showing a mass of writhing darkness that defied description. It moved with terrifying speed, devouring entire universes as it advanced towards the junction point. All ships, prepare to fire on my mark, Axel ordered, his hands tightening on the arms of his command chair. Remember, we need perfect synchronization across all realities for this to work. As the crew made final preparations, Axel stood and addressed them. No matter what happens next, I want you all to know it's been an honor serving with you in this reality and every other." The bridge crew nodded solemnly, each person and their counterparts across the multiverse steeling themselves for the battle ahead. "Sir," Kira called out, her voice tense, "the hunger is entering weapons range." Axel took a deep breath. "All ships, fire." In perfect unison, every version of the Nova Strike fired its quantum-entangled cannon. The combined beams of energy lanced across the dimensions, striking the infinite hunger simultaneously in countless realities. The effect was immediate and spectacular. The hunger recoiled, its vast form writhing in apparent pain, but it wasn't enough. Minimal damage to its core structure, the cyborg Axel reported, his voice echoing across the comm channels. "We need more power." Axel's mind raced. They had given it everything they had, and it still wasn't enough. Then, a realization struck him. "The junction point," he said, turning to Zarak. "You said it connects all realities. What if we used it to amplify our weapons?" Zarak's form pulsed with concern. "It's possible, but the energy required would destabilize the junction. Whoever controls it would be torn apart across multiple dimensions." Axel nodded grimly. "Then that's what we'll do. I'll enter the junction and channel our combined firepower through it." Protests erupted from his crew and the alternate Nova Strikes, but Axel held up a hand to silence them. "This is bigger than any one of us," he said, his voice carrying across all realities. "If we fail here, everything ends. All of existence, every possibility, gone forever. I'm willing to make that sacrifice." As the infinite hunger began to recover, launching a counterattack that shattered several alternate Earths, Axel knew it was now or never. "Zane, you have the con," he said, moving towards the airlock. "On my signal, have every ship fire again, full power." Donning a spacesuit, Axel stepped into the airlock. As the outer door opened, he found himself facing the swirling chaos of the junction point. With a deep breath, he launched himself into the maelstrom. The sensation was indescribable. Axel felt his consciousness expand, touching every version of himself across the multiverse. He saw infinite possibilities, lives lived and choices made in countless realities. At the heart of the junction, Axel reached out with his mind, connecting with every version of the Nova Strike. He felt the combined will of infinite Axel Vorens, all focused on a single purpose. "Now," he called out, his voice resonating across dimensions. As one, the Nova Strikes fired. Axel felt the energy course through him, amplified by the junction point to levels beyond imagination. He directed it towards the infinite hunger's core, visible now across all realities. The multiverse itself seemed to hold its breath as the fate of all existence hung in the balance. The amplified energy of countless Nova Strikes surged through Axel, his body becoming a conduit for power beyond mortal comprehension. He felt himself stretching across realities, his consciousness expanding to encompass the entirety of the multiverse. Through this expanded awareness, Axel could see the true form of the infinite hunger. It wasn't just a force of destruction. It was a twisted reflection of creation itself, born from the primordial chaos that existed before the multiverse took shape. As the combined attack struck the hunger's core, Axel felt a shockwave of pain ripple through every version of himself. The creature's agony echoed across dimensions, causing entire realities to shudder. But it wasn't enough. The hunger, though wounded, began to adapt, its form shifting to absorb the energy being poured into it. "It's not working," Axel heard his own voice know, the voice of every Axel cry out in frustration. In that moment of desperation, Axel had an epiphany. The hunger wasn't just consuming realities, it was consuming possibility itself. And in doing so, it had made itself vulnerable. "Everyone, listen." Axel projected his thoughts across the multiversal battlefield. "We need to overload it with possibility. Every version of ourselves, every choice we've ever made or could make, we need to channel that into our attack." Understanding rippled through the collective consciousness of the Axels. Across infinite realities, every version of Axel Voren opened their minds, pouring their experiences, their hopes, their fears, and their dreams into the energy stream. The effect was immediate and staggering. The attack beam transformed, becoming a kaleidoscope of potential realities. It struck the infinite hunger with the force of every choice ever made or unmade across the multiverse. Axel felt the creature's confusion, then its fear. For the first time in its eternal existence, the hunger faced something it couldn't simply devour: the infinite potential of conscious choice. As the attack continued, Axel sensed a change in the hunger's core. It was unraveling, its form unable to contain the vast array of possibilities being forced into it. With a final, reality-shaking roar, the infinite hunger began to collapse in on itself. Axel watched in awe as the creature that had threatened to devour all of existence imploded, leaving behind a swirling vortex of pure potential. But the victory came at a cost. Axel felt his own form beginning to dissipate, his consciousness stretched too thin across the multiverse. He was losing his grip on his own reality, on his own self. As he began to fade, Axel saw flashes of other lives, other choices. He saw versions of himself that had taken different paths, faced different challenges. And in each of these alternate lives, he saw the same core of determination, the same willingness to sacrifice for the greater good. With his last ounce of strength, Axel focused on his own reality, on his own crew waiting anxiously on the Nova Strike. He thought of Zane's unwavering loyalty, Kira's brilliant mind, and the bond they had forged through countless adventures. "Thank you," he whispered to the multiverse, "for the chance to make a difference." As Axel's consciousness began to disperse across realities, he felt a sense of peace. He had faced the ultimate threat and emerged victorious. The multiverse would continue, filled with infinite possibilities. The last thing Axel saw before everything faded to white was the swirling vortex left behind by the hunger's destruction. And in that swirling mass of potential, he thought he saw something new beginning to take shape. In the aftermath of the infinite hunger's destruction, the multiverse trembled. Realities collided and merged, the boundaries between dimensions becoming fluid. On the bridge of the Nova Strike, Zane and the crew watched in awe and terror as the fabric of existence reshaped itself around them. "Captain Voran's life signs? I can't detect them," Kira reported, her voice barely above a whisper. Zane gripped the command chair, his knuckles white. "Keep scanning. He has to be out there somewhere." As the crew frantically searched for any sign of Axel, Zarak's form shimmered into existence on the bridge. The alien's usual luminescence was dimmed, its voice somber. "What you have witnessed is unprecedented," Zarak said. "The destruction of the infinite hunger has released an enormous amount of cosmic energy. The multiverse is rewriting itself." Through the viewscreen, they watched as the swirling vortex left by the hunger's implosion began to take shape. It was as if reality itself was being born anew, countless possibilities coalescing into a new cosmic order. Suddenly, the ship's sensors blared to life. "Energy spike!" Kira called out. "Something's coming through." From the heart of the vortex, a figure emerged. It was Axel, but not as they knew him. His form shimmered with cosmic energy, his eyes holding the depth of infinite realities. As Axel's feet touched the deck of the Nova Strike, the energy surrounding him dissipated, leaving him looking human once more, albeit forever changed by his experience. "Captain," Zane exclaimed, relief evident in his voice. "We thought we'd lost you." Axel smiled, but there was a new weight to his expression, a profound understanding that hadn't been there before. "For a moment there, I thought I was lost too, but something brought me back." Zarak moved closer, studying Axel with newfound reverence. "You have become something more, Captain Voran. A nexus of possibilities, a living bridge between realities." As Axel tried to process this information, the viewscreen lit up with transmissions from the other Nova Strikes. Each version of Axel that had participated in the battle had undergone a similar transformation. The cyborg Axel spoke first, his mechanical eyes glowing with new understanding. "We've been given a second chance, a chance to reshape the multiverse for the better." The spiritual Axel nodded in agreement. We have seen the interconnectedness of all things. Now, we must use this knowledge wisely. As the implications of their victory sank in, Axel turned to his crew. The threat of the infinite hunger is gone, but our work is far from over. The multiverse is in a state of flux, and it needs guidance. Zane stepped forward, determination in his eyes. Whatever comes next, sir, we're with you. Axel nodded gratefully, then addressed the assembled alternates of himself and his crew across realities. We've been given an incredible responsibility. Each of us will return to our own realities, but will remain connected, working together to nurture this new cosmic order. As the alternate Nova Strikes began to return to their respective dimensions, Axel felt a tug on his consciousness. He could sense the myriad possibilities spreading out before him, the countless realities that now looked to him and his counterparts for protection and guidance. "Sir," Kira called out, her voice filled with awe, "you need to see this." The viewscreen showed their home reality, but it was changed. Earth glowed with a new vitality, and the stars seemed brighter somehow. Humanity was reaching out into the cosmos with newfound purpose and understanding. Axel smiled, feeling a sense of hope he hadn't experienced since the early days of their quantum adventures. "Take us home," he ordered, his voice carrying the weight of infinite possibilities. "We have a new frontier to explore." As the Nova Strike's engines hummed to life, preparing to navigate the reshaped cosmos, Axel knew that this was not an end, but a new beginning. The echoes of infinity had transformed them all, and the greatest adventure of their lives of all possible lives was just beginning. The multiverse awaited, filled with wonders beyond imagination and challenges yet unknown, and humanity, led by Axel Voren and his counterparts across realities, was ready to face it all. As the Nova Strike cruised through the transformed cosmos, Axel stood at the viewscreen, marveling at the new wonders that unfolded before them. Stars pulsed with colors previously unseen, and spatial anomalies that would have once been dangerous now seemed to beckon, offering glimpses into other realities. "Captain," Zane called from his station, "we're receiving a transmission from Earth. It's different from anything we've encountered before." Axel nodded, still getting used to the newfound awareness that thrummed through his being. "Put it through." The viewscreen flickered, and instead of the usual talking head of a government official, a swirling vortex of light and color appeared. From it, a voice that seemed to bypass their ears and speak directly to their minds emanated. "Greetings, Nova Strike. We are the collective consciousness of Earth. Your actions have awakened us to the true nature of our reality and our place in the multiverse." Axel exchanged glances with his crew, seeing the mix of awe and trepidation on their faces. "This is Captain Axel Voren. We're glad to see Earth has evolved, but I must ask, what has become of humanity?" The vortex pulsed, and images flashed across the screen, scenes of a transformed Earth, where humans lived in harmony with nature and technology, their minds linked in a vast network that spanned the planet. "Humanity has transcended its former limitations," the collective explained. "We have united our consciousness while maintaining our individuality, and now we look to the stars with new purpose." As Axel absorbed this information, he felt a tug on his expanded consciousness. Glimpses of other Earths across the multiverse flashed through his mind. Some had evolved similarly, others had taken different paths, but all were irrevocably changed by the defeat of the infinite hunger. "We sense you have been altered as well, Captain Voren," the collective continued. "You and your counterparts across realities now serve as bridges between dimensions. We would learn from you, and in turn, offer our aid in navigating this new cosmic landscape." Axel nodded, understanding the magnitude of what was being proposed. "We would be honored to work together. But I must ask, what of the other species we've encountered? The Swarm, the Ethereals, and others?" The vortex shimmered, and new images appeared, scenes of former enemies now working in cooperation, of alien races reaching out across dimensional barriers to share knowledge and resources. "The reshaping of the multiverse has affected all sentient life," the collective explained. Old enmities have been replaced by a shared sense of wonder and purpose, but this new era is not without its challenges. As if on cue, the ship's sensors blared an alert. Kira's fingers flew across her console as she reported, "Captain, we're detecting a massive energy disturbance at the edge of our solar system. It's like nothing we've ever seen before." The viewscreen shifted to show a colossal tear in the fabric of space-time, far larger than anything they had encountered. Through it, Axel could see something, a realm beyond the multiverse, a place where the laws of physics, as they knew them, seemed not to apply. The outer void, the collective's voice resonated with a mix of fear and fascination. A space between multiverses that our new awareness has allowed us to perceive, but we are not alone in our discovery. Through the tear, massive shapes began to emerge, entities of such scale and alien nature that Axel's mind struggled to comprehend them, even with his newfound cosmic awareness. "It seems," Axel said, his voice steady despite the weight of realization, "that our victory over the infinite hunger was just the beginning. We've drawn the attention of forces beyond our multiverse." As the crew of the Nova Strike watched in awe and trepidation, Axel felt the collective will of his counterparts across realities. They too were facing this new threat, this new frontier of exploration and danger. "Zane," Axel commanded, his voice carrying the determination of infinite selves, "set a course for that tier. It's time we introduced ourselves to the neighbors." As the Nova Strike's engines flared to life, propelling them towards the unknown, Axel couldn't help but smile. They had saved their multiverse, but in doing so, they had opened the door to something far greater and more terrifying than they had ever imagined. The echoes of infinity resonated with new purpose. The next chapter of their cosmic odyssey was about to begin. The Nova Strike approached the colossal tier in reality, its hull vibrating with energies beyond human comprehension. Axel stood at the helm, his transformed consciousness reaching out to touch the minds of his counterparts across the multiverse. He could feel their collective determination, their shared sense of awe and trepidation. "All systems at maximum," Zane reported, his voice steady despite the tension palpable on the bridge. "Whatever's on the other side of that rift, we're as ready as we'll ever be." Axel nodded, his eyes fixed on the swirling vortex before them. "Take us in, nice and easy." As the Nova Strike crossed the threshold, reality itself seemed to shudder. The familiar laws of physics bent and warped around them. Through the viewscreen, they beheld a realm of impossible geometries and colors that shouldn't exist. "By all that's holy," Kira whispered, her fingers dancing across her console as she tried to make sense of the sensor readings. "Captain, I'm detecting structures, massive constructs that dwarf entire galaxies." Before Axel could respond, a presence made itself known. It wasn't a voice, not in any conventional sense. It was a concept, an idea that bloomed directly in their minds, bypassing language altogether. "Visitors from the young realm, you have breached the veil." Axel straightened, drawing on the collective strength of his multiversal selves. "I am Captain Axel Voren of the starship Nova Strike. We come in peace, seeking understanding." There was a sense of amusement, tinged with something akin to curiosity. Peace, understanding, quaint concepts from a quaint existence. You have meddled with forces beyond your comprehension, little one. Images flooded Axel's mind, the destruction of the infinite hunger, the reshaping of their multiverse, all seen from a perspective so vast it made their actions seem insignificant. "We did what we had to do to save our existence," Axel argued, feeling the support of his crew and his counterparts across realities. "And in doing so, we've evolved. We're ready to learn, to understand the greater cosmos." There was a pause, as if the entity was considering his words. "Evolution. Yes, we have observed this phenomenon in your realm. Perhaps there is potential in your kind." Suddenly, the vastness of the outer void seemed to contract around them. Axel felt his consciousness expanding even further, touching the minds of the colossal entities that dwelled in this space between multiverses. He saw cycles of creation and destruction on a scale that dwarfed anything he had ever imagined. multiverses born and dying like bubbles in a cosmic foam. And through it all, these entities, shepherding the process for reasons beyond mortal comprehension. Your actions have disrupted the cycle, the presence communicated. The hunger was a tool, a means of pruning realities that had grown stagnant. But you have introduced a new variable. Axel's mind reeled from the implications. Are you saying our multiverse was meant to be destroyed? Destiny is a fluid concept, Captain Voren. Your defiance of the established order has intrigued us. Perhaps it is time for a new approach. The outer void shimmered, and Axel saw glimpses of other tiers in reality, other multiverses facing their own versions of the infinite hunger, their own moments of crisis. We offer you a choice, Axel Voren. Return to your realm and live out your existence in ignorant bliss. Oregon, join us. Become shepherds of realities, guardians of the cosmic cycle. The weight of the decision pressed down on Axel. He could feel the anticipation of his crew, the collective breath of his counterparts across the multiverse held in suspense. In that moment, Axel understood that this was why they had been transformed, why they had been allowed to glimpse the greater cosmos. It wasn't just about saving their own reality, it was about taking their place in a grander design. We accept, Axel said, his voice carrying the weight of infinite possibilities. We will become guardians, protectors of the cosmic balance. As the words left his mouth, Axel felt a shift in the very fabric of his being. The Nova Strike and its crew began to transform, their forms becoming fluid, merging with the energies of the outer void. They were no longer merely human, no longer confined to a single reality. They had become something more, cosmic entities themselves, tasked with shepherding the growth and evolution of entire multiverses. As their transformation completed, Axel felt a sense of purpose unlike anything he had ever known. The echoes of infinity resonated with new meaning, and the greatest adventure of all existence lay before them. The journey that had begun with a single quantum leap had led them to the very heart of creation itself. And now, as guardians of realities, their true work was just beginning. Eons passed in the blink of an eye as Axel and his crew, now transformed into cosmic entities, embraced their new role as guardians of the multiverse. They traversed the vast expanse of the outer void, their consciousness expanding to encompass entire realities. Axel, once a mere starship captain, now shepherded the birth and death of universes. He watched civilizations rise and fall, guided the evolution of countless species, and maintained the delicate balance between creation and destruction. But even as they grew in power and understanding, Axel never forgot their origins. The memory of Earth, of humanity, of the Nova Strike's original mission, remained a cornerstone of his cosmic identity. As Axel oversaw the formation of a new universe, he felt a familiar presence. It was Zane, his consciousness now as vast as Axel's own. "Something troubles you, old friend," Zane communicated, the concept flowing between them instantaneously. Axel's form shimmered, a cosmic sigh rippling through nearby realities. "I've been thinking about our home, Zane. About Earth, and the path we set them on before our ascension." Together, they turned their cosmic awareness towards their original reality. Earth had flourished in their absence, humanity expanding across the stars, forming alliances with other species, pushing the boundaries of science and spirituality alike. But as they watched, Axel noticed something concerning. A familiar darkness was creeping at the edges of the galaxy, a hunger that should have been extinguished. "Impossible," Axel breathed, the word causing ripples in the fabric of space-time. Zane's consciousness pulsed with alarm. "The infinite hunger. But how? We destroyed it." As they focused their vast intellect on the problem, understanding dawned. The hunger they had faced and defeated was but one manifestation of a fundamental force of the cosmos. Like energy or matter, it could neither be created nor destroyed, only changed in form. "We didn't destroy it," Axel realized. "We only transformed it. And now, it's reforming." The implications were staggering. If the hunger could return in their home reality, it could manifest again in any of the multiverses they now shepherded. Axel felt the attention of the other cosmic entities. the original overseers who had elevated them to this state. Their curiosity and concern radiated across the outer void. "This is unexpected," the eldest of the overseers communicated. "Your test continues, young ones." Axel's cosmic form pulsed with determination. "We need to act. Not just in our home reality, but across all realities. We need to find a way to truly balance the force of consumption with the force of creation." Zane's consciousness aligned with Axel's. "But can we intervene directly? We're no longer part of those realities." As they grappled with this cosmic dilemma, Axel felt a tug on his awareness. It was faint, almost imperceptible against the vast backdrop of his cosmic consciousness, but unmistakable. It was Earth calling, not the collective consciousness they had left behind, but something more primal, more familiar. It was humanity, their spirits reaching out across the cosmos, across the very boundaries of reality. In that moment, Axel understood. They had become cosmic shepherds, but they had never ceased to be human. Their connection to their origin, to the spark that had driven them to save their universe in the first place, was the key. "We can't intervene directly," Axel communicated to Zane and the other ascended members of his crew. "But we can inspire, guide, just as the overseers did for us." With a thought, Axel projected his consciousness back into their home reality. Not as the cosmic entity he had become, but as an echo of his former self. A captain, a leader, a symbol of humanity's potential. Across the galaxy, beings of all species began to dream. They saw visions of a united front against cosmic darkness, of science and spirituality merging to form a bulwark against chaos. They felt the echoes of a battle won long ago, and understood the need to remain vigilant. As Axel withdrew his influence, careful not to overstep the bounds of his new role, he felt a sense of hope. The seed had been planted. Now it was up to the inhabitants of that reality to nurture it, to forge their own path forward. "And so the cycle continues," Zane mused, his cosmic form resonating with a mixture of pride and melancholy. Axel's consciousness expanded once more, taking in the vast tapestry of multiverses under their care. "Indeed it does, old friend. Our greatest adventure continues, on scales both infinite and intimately small." As they turned their attention to other realities, other challenges, Axel carried with him the renewed understanding of their dual nature, cosmic shepherds with the hearts of explorers. The echoes of infinity resonated with new purpose, and the next phase of their eternal journey began. In the vastness of the outer void, where time and space held little meaning, Axel and his ascended crew continued their cosmic vigil. They had seeded inspiration across countless realities, guiding civilizations towards a greater understanding of the cosmic balance. But as they watched over the multiverses, a pattern began to emerge. The spark of defiance against cosmic forces, the very quality that had allowed them to overcome the infinite hunger, was spreading. Across realities, species were evolving, pushing against the boundaries of their existence. "Do you see it?" Axel communicated to his fellow guardians. "The change we've set in motion." Kira's cosmic form shimmered with excitement. "It's remarkable. They're not just surviving, they're thriving, evolving in ways we never imagined." As they observed, they saw civilizations harnessing energies that could reshape planets, species merging consciousness with technology, and beings transcending the boundaries of their native dimensions. But with this rapid evolution came new challenges. Some realities teetered on the brink of collapse, the ambitions of their inhabitants threatening the very fabric of their universes. "The balance is shifting," one of the elder overseers noted. "Your influence has accelerated the cosmic cycle." Axel felt the weight of responsibility settle over him. They had inspired change, but now that change threatened to spiral out of control. "We need to do more than just inspire," Axel realized. "We need to teach them to be guardians in their own right." With the consensus of his crew and the approval of the overseers, Axel embarked on a new mission. Across the multiverses, they began to select individuals and civilizations that showed the potential to understand the greater cosmic order. In one reality, they guided a young scientist to discover the principles of multiversal physics. In another, they inspired a philosopher king to unite warring species under a banner of cosmic stewardship. But it was in their home reality that Axel focused most of his attention. Earth, the cradle of their existence, had flourished beyond their wildest dreams. Humanity had spread across the galaxy, forming a federation of species dedicated to exploration and mutual protection. As Axel watched, he saw a familiar ship emerge from a spatial rift, a new Novastrike, crewed by the descendants of those they had left behind. His cosmic heart swelled with pride as he observed their mission to investigate the resurgence of the infinite hunger. "They're following in our footsteps," Zane noted, his consciousness intertwining with Axel's. "No," Axel corrected, "they're forging their own path, and it's time we gave them the tools to succeed." With careful precision, Axel and his crew began to manifest aspects of their cosmic knowledge into forms that their descendants could comprehend. Ancient artifacts that held the keys to multiversal travel, encoded transmissions that hinted at the true nature of reality, and carefully orchestrated coincidences that would lead the new generation of explorers towards a greater understanding of their place in the cosmos. As they worked, Axel felt a shift in the outer void. The elder overseers were withdrawing, their vast consciousnesses receding to some greater realm beyond even Axel's comprehension. "Your time has come," the eldest communicated. "The cycle turns anew. Guide them well." With a flash of cosmic energy, the overseers were gone. Axel and his crew found themselves the senior guardians of the multiverse, tasked with shepherding not just individual realities, but the very process of cosmic evolution itself. As they embraced their new role, Axel turned his attention back to the Novastrike and its crew. They stood at the threshold of a great discovery, one that would propel them towards their own ascension. "Watch closely," Axel communicated to his fellow guardians. "For in their journey, we'll see echoes of our own, and perhaps, in time, they too will join us here, in the spaces between realities." As the new Novastrike prepared to face the reborn infinite hunger, Axel felt a sense of completion. The cycle that had begun with their quantum leap so long ago was coming full circle. But it wasn't an ending, it was a new beginning, a fresh echo in the infinite symphony of existence. The multiverse pulsed with potential, each reality a note in a cosmic melody, and Axel Voren, once a simple starship captain, now a guardian of realities, prepared to conduct the next movement in the endless song of creation. As the final lines of their story faded into the cosmic background, Axel and his crew stood ready to face whatever challenges the infinite futures might hold. The echoes of infinity would resonate for eternity, a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity and the endless wonder of the cosmos. Captain Zephyr Stormwind stood on the bridge of the Novastrike, his eyes fixed on the swirling quantum anomaly that filled the viewscreen. The ship, a marvel of human engineering and alien technology, hummed with power as it held position at the edge of known space. "Status report," Zephyr commanded, his voice steady despite the tension that gripped the bridge. First Officer Talon Reed's fingers danced across his console. "Quantum shields holding at 87%, Captain. But these readings, they're like nothing we've ever seen before." Zephyr nodded, his steel-gray eyes narrowing as he studied the anomaly. It wasn't just a tear in space-time, it was a wound in reality itself, bleeding impossible energies into their universe. As he watched, tendrils of darkness began to emerge from the rift, moving with a purpose that sent chills down Zephyr's spine. "Magnify," he ordered. The viewscreen zoomed in, revealing entities that defied description. They seemed to be made of living shadow, their forms constantly shifting and reforming. But it was their eyes that captured Zephyr's attention pools of infinite darkness that somehow conveyed an ancient, alien intelligence. "By the Guardians," Talon whispered, his usual stoicism cracking in the face of this impossible sight. Zephyr felt it too, a primal fear that went beyond mere survival instinct. These entities, whatever they were, represented a threat to existence itself. As if triggered by their observation, the shadow beings suddenly surged forward, moving at impossible speeds towards the Novastrike. "Evasive maneuvers," Zephyr shouted. "Full power to quantum shields." The ship banked hard, narrowly avoiding the first wave of entities. But more were pouring through the rift, their very presence seeming to warp the fabric of space around them. As Zephyr called out orders, coordinating the ship's defenses, a strange sensation washed over him. The bridge around him seemed to fade, replaced by a vista of cosmic beauty beyond imagination. Before him stood a figure that radiated power and wisdom, a being of pure energy that somehow felt familiar. "Hello, Zephyr," the entity said, its voice resonating directly in Zephyr's mind. "I am Axel Voren, your ancestor and guardian of this reality." Zephyr's mind reeled. He had grown up hearing stories of the legendary Axel Voren, the captain who had saved the multiverse and ascended to cosmic guardianship. But to see him, to speak with him. "We don't have much time," Axel continued. "The beings you face are called Void Weavers. They seek to unravel the very fabric of our reality. Your journey, Zephyr, is just beginning. You must unlock the potential that lies dormant within humanity." "But how?" Zephyr asked, feeling overwhelmed by the weight of this cosmic revelation. Axel's form began to fade. "Seek the precursor sites. The keys to humanity's ascension lie hidden there. Trust in yourself, Zephyr. The echoes of infinity resonate within you." With a jolt, Zephyr found himself back on the bridge of the Nova Strike. Only seconds had passed, but he felt changed, imbued with a sense of purpose that transcended his role as a starship captain. "Sir," Talon's voice cut through Zephyr's thoughts. "The entities are regrouping for another attack." Zephyr's eyes hardened with determination. "Plot a course for the Andromeda Galaxy. There's a precursor site there that might hold the key to stopping these Void Weavers." As the Nova Strike's quantum drive spooled up, preparing to jump to safety, Zephyr couldn't shake the feeling that he had just taken the first step on a journey that would change the fate of the multiverse itself. The resonance of eternity thrummed through his being, and for the first time, Zephyr Stormwind began to understand the true legacy of humanity among the stars. The Nova Strike erupted from quantum space in a burst of scintillating energy, the vast spiral arms of the Andromeda Galaxy sprawling before them. Zephyr leaned forward in his command chair, scanning the star-strewn vista for any sign of their pursuers. "Status report," he ordered, his voice taut with tension. Talon's fingers flew over his console. "No sign of the Void Weavers, Captain. But our quantum wake is unstable. We won't be able to jump again for at least 6 hours." Zephyr nodded grimly. "That should give us enough time. Helm, set a course for the precursor site. Maximum sublight speed." As the Nova Strike surged forward, Zephyr couldn't shake the memory of his vision. The words of his ascended ancestor, Axel Voren, echoed in his mind. The keys to humanity's ascension. What did that mean? The ship's AI, Nova, materialized as a holographic projection beside him. "Captain, I've analyzed the coordinates you provided. The precursor site appears to be located on a rogue planet drifting through the Andromeda's outer rim." "A rogue planet?" Zephyr mused. "Interesting choice for an ancient alien outpost." As they approached their destination, the rogue planet came into view. It was a dark, frozen world, its surface scarred by impact craters and vast canyons of ice. But what caught Zephyr's attention was the massive structure jutting from the planet's northern pole, a spire of impossible geometry that seemed to defy the laws of physics. "Scan that structure," Zephyr commanded. "Any signs of life or energy readings?" Nova's form flickered as she processed the data. "Negative on life signs, Captain. But I'm detecting a faint energy signature unlike anything in our databases. It appears to be pulsing." Zephyr felt a tug in his mind, a resonance that seemed to sync with the pulsing energy. "Prepare a landing party. I'll lead the expedition myself." Talon stepped forward, concern etched on his face. "Captain, protocol dictates." "I know the protocol, Talon," Zephyr cut him off, his voice firm but not unkind. "But something tells me I need to be down there. You have the con." Minutes later, Zephyr stood in the shuttle bay, donning an advanced exosuit designed for extreme environments. As the rest of the landing party prepared, he felt a strange calm settle over him. Whatever awaited them on that frozen world, he knew it would change everything. The descent to the planet's surface was turbulent, icy winds buffeting the shuttle as they approached the towering precursor spire. As they touched down, Zephyr was the first to step out onto the frozen landscape. The spire loomed above them, its surface etched with symbols that seemed to shift and change as they watched. At its base, a doorway pulsed with the same energy Nova had detected. "Stay alert," Zephyr warned his team as they approached the entrance. "We don't know what we're dealing with here." As they neared the doorway, the pulsing intensified. Zephyr felt a pressure building in his mind, a sensation of vast knowledge straining against the limits of his consciousness. Without warning, the symbols on the spire flared to life. Beams of energy lanced out, enveloping each member of the landing party. Zephyr heard his team cry out in shock, but he remained silent, embracing the surge of power that coursed through him. In that moment, Zephyr Stormwind ceased to be merely human. His consciousness expanded, touching the very fabric of reality. He saw the multiverse in all its infinite complexity, understood the delicate balance that held existence together. And he saw the threat. The Void Weavers were more than just invaders from another dimension. They were the antithesis of creation itself, seeking to unravel the cosmic tapestry and return all to the primordial void. As the energy subsided, Zephyr found himself standing alone at the base of the spire. His landing party was gone, but he could sense them, their consciousnesses now part of the greater whole, just as his ancestor Axel had become. But Zephyr was different. He retained his physical form, a bridge between the mortal and cosmic realms. He understood now why he had been chosen, why the echoes of infinity resonated within him. As he turned back towards the shuttle, new knowledge and power thrumming through his being, Zephyr knew that the real battle was just beginning. The Void Weavers were coming, and he alone stood as humanity's hope for ascension. The frozen world fell away as Zephyr's expanded consciousness reached out across the stars. The resonance of eternity called, and he would answer. Zephyr materialized on the bridge of the Nova Strike, his newfound abilities allowing him to traverse space with a mere thought. Talon jumped back in surprise, his hand instinctively reaching for his sidearm. "At ease, First Officer," Zephyr said, his voice carrying an otherworldly resonance. "It's still me, mostly." Talon's eyes widened as he took in Zephyr's transformed appearance. The captain's body seemed to shimmer with barely contained energy, his eyes now swirling pools of cosmic light. "Captain, what happened down there?" Talon asked, his voice a mix of awe and concern. Zephyr moved to the center of the bridge, his movements fluid and graceful. "We've unlocked something, Talon. The next step in human evolution. But there's no time to explain fully. The Void Weavers are coming, and we need to prepare." As if on cue, the ship's alarms blared. Nova's holographic form appeared, her expression grave. "Multiple quantum rifts detected, Captain. The Void Weavers have found us." Zephyr nodded, unsurprised. He could sense the approaching entities, feel the wrongness of their existence as they tore through the fabric of reality. "All hands, battle stations," he commanded. "Talon, I need you to trust me. What we're about to face is beyond anything in Starfleet protocols." Talon hesitated for a moment, then straightened, his resolve hardening. "You've never led us astray, Captain. What do you need us to do?" Zephyr smiled, grateful for his first officer's loyalty. "Coordinate our conventional defenses. Keep the Void Weavers occupied. I'll handle the rest." As the crew sprang into action, Zephyr closed his eyes, reaching out with his expanded consciousness. He could see the quantum rifts forming, the Void Weavers pouring through in impossible numbers. But he could also see something else. Threads of possibility, strands of cosmic energy that connected all things. The resonance of eternity itself. Zephyr opened his eyes, his body beginning to glow with power. "Nova, divert all non-essential power to the quantum shields. Talon, on my mark, fire everything we've got at the largest rift." The Void Weavers emerged from the rifts, their shadowy forms distorting space around them. They surged towards the Nova Strike, intent on unraveling its very existence. "Now," Zephyr shouted. As the Nova Strike's weapons blazed, Zephyr reached out with his mind. He grasped the threads of possibility, weaving them into a barrier of pure cosmic energy. The Void Weavers slammed against it, their forms writhing in frustration. But it wasn't enough. For every Void Weaver they destroyed, two more took its place. Zephyr could feel the strain on his newly awakened powers, the weight of holding back the tide of uncreation. In that moment of desperation, Zephyr heard a familiar voice in his mind. "Remember, Zephyr," Axel Voron's cosmic consciousness whispered. "You are not alone. The resonance of eternity flows through all of humanity. Call to them." Understanding flooded through Zephyr. He reached out, not just with his mind, but with his very soul. Across the vastness of space, he called to humanity, to the latent potential that lay dormant in every human being. On Earth, on colonies across the galaxy, humans suddenly found themselves awakening to a greater reality. They felt the call, the pull of cosmic destiny. Aboard the Nova Strike, the crew gasped as they felt new power flowing through them. Talon's hands moved across his console with impossible speed and precision, the ship's weapons finding weak points in the Void Weaver's formation that shouldn't have been visible. Zephyr opened his eyes, seeing his crew not just with his physical senses, but with his cosmic awareness. Each of them glowed with newfound potential, the first steps towards humanity's true ascension. "Together," Zephyr called out, his voice resonating across dimensions. "Focus your will, push them back." As one, the crew of the Nova Strike reached out with their awakening cosmic senses. They joined their captain in grasping the threads of reality, in pushing back against the encroaching void. The Void Weavers recoiled, their shadowy forms dissipating as they were forced back through the rifts. With a final surge of collective will, Zephyr and his crew sealed the tears in reality. As the immediate threat faded, Zephyr felt the strain of his exertions. He stumbled, caught by Talon before he could fall. "Easy, Captain," Talon said, his own voice tinged with the resonance of newfound power. "What? What did you do to us?" Zephyr straightened, looking around at his transformed crew with a mix of pride and trepidation. "I awakened what was always there," he said softly. "But this is just the beginning. The Void Weavers will return, stronger than ever, and we need to be ready." As the Nova Strike hung in space, its crew forever changed, Zephyr knew that their greatest challenges still lay ahead. The resonance of eternity had answered their call, but the true test of humanity's cosmic potential was yet to come. In the days that followed their encounter with the Void Weavers, the Nova Strike became a crucible of transformation. Zephyr watched as his crew grappled with their awakening cosmic senses, each member manifesting unique abilities that defied conventional understanding. Talon had developed an uncanny ability to perceive quantum probabilities, allowing him to navigate the ship through space-time with unprecedented precision. The engineering team, led by Chief Archer, found they could manipulate the very laws of physics within the ship's drive core, pushing the Nova Strike's capabilities beyond anything in Starfleet's records. Zephyr stood on the observation deck, his enhanced senses allowing him to perceive the intricate web of cosmic energy that connected all things. He felt the pulse of distant stars, the birth and death of galaxies, and the subtle resonance of other realities brushing against their own. "Captain," Nova's voice interrupted his contemplation. "We're receiving a transmission. It's from Earth." Zephyr's brow furrowed. They were far beyond normal communication range. "Put it through," he commanded. The viewscreen flickered to life, revealing the face of Admiral Thorne, the head of Starfleet Command. But there was something different about him. His eyes held the same cosmic awareness that Zephyr now saw in his own crew. "Captain Stormwind," Thorne began, his voice carrying an otherworldly timbre, "we felt the awakening. Every human across the galaxy. We've all changed." Zephyr nodded solemnly. "Admiral, the situation is more complex than we could have imagined. The entities we face, the Void Weavers, they're a threat to the very fabric of reality." Thorne's expression hardened. "We know, Captain. Our top scientists and mystics have been analyzing the cosmic data streaming into our collective consciousness. We're on the brink of something monumental, a transformation of our entire species. As they spoke, Zephyr felt a familiar tug on his expanded awareness. The cosmic form of Axel Voren materialized beside him, visible only to Zephyr's enhanced perception. The time has come, Zephyr, Axel's voice resonated in his mind. Humanity stands at a crossroads. The path you choose now will determine the fate of not just your species, but of the entire multiverse. Zephyr turned back to the viewscreen. Admiral, I believe I know what we need to do. There's a place, a nexus point where the barriers between realities are thinnest. If we can gather humanity's awakened potential there, we might be able to ascend to a level where we can truly combat the Void Weavers. Admiral Thorne nodded, understanding dawning in his cosmic-touched eyes. The Crucible of Eternity. Our newfound awareness has revealed its location to us. But Zephyr, you must understand the gravity of this decision. If we take this step, there may be no going back. Humanity as we know it could cease to exist. Zephyr felt the weight of this choice pressing down upon him. He thought of Earth, of the countless human worlds spread across the galaxy, of the art, the music, the simple joys of mortal existence. Were they ready to leave all of that behind? But then he remembered the Void Weavers, the existential threat they posed not just to humanity, but to all of creation. He saw again the infinite possibilities of the cosmos, the wonders that awaited if they could overcome this challenge. We've always been explorers, Admiral, Zephyr said, his voice firm with resolve. From our first steps out of Africa to our leap into the stars. This is just the next frontier. Humanity may change, but our spirit, our essence, will endure. Admiral Thorne straightened, a look of pride crossing his features. Well said, Captain. I'll coordinate with the leaders of every human world. We'll marshal our forces, gather our awakened potential. The Nova Strike will lead the way to the Crucible. As the transmission ended, Zephyr turned to the cosmic image of his ancestor. Are we doing the right thing, Axel? Are we ready for this? Axel's form shimmered, a smile playing across his ethereal features. Readiness is a myth, Zephyr. Every great leap in history has been a step into the unknown. But if any species has the potential to transcend its limitations and rise to this challenge, it's humanity. Zephyr nodded, squaring his shoulders as he prepared to address his crew. The path ahead was uncertain, fraught with danger and the unknown. But the resonance of eternity called, and humanity would answer. As the Nova Strike prepared to embark on its most important mission yet, Zephyr couldn't help but feel a mix of trepidation and exhilaration. They stood on the brink of cosmic ascension, with the fate of all reality hanging in the balance. The next phase of their journey was about to begin, and the universe itself held its breath in anticipation. The Nova Strike hung in space at the edge of a vast cosmic maelstrom. Before them, reality itself seemed to twist and warp, the fabric of space-time bending around a singularity of impossible energies. This was the Crucible of Eternity, the nexus point where humanity would attempt its greatest transformation. Zephyr stood on the bridge, his enhanced senses allowing him to perceive the intricate dance of cosmic forces swirling around them. Behind the Nova Strike, a fleet of ships had gathered every available human vessel, from massive colony arcs to nimble fighters, all crewed by awakened individuals ready to take the next step in evolution. "Status report," Zephyr commanded, his voice steady despite the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. Talon's fingers danced across his console, his movements guided by his newfound ability to perceive quantum probabilities. "All ships report ready, Captain. The fleet is in formation, awaiting your signal." Nova's holographic form shimmered into existence beside Zephyr. "Captain, I'm detecting massive energy fluctuations within the Crucible. It's as if it's responding to our presence." Zephyr nodded, unsurprised. He could feel it too, a pull, a resonance that seemed to call to the very core of his being. The Crucible recognized them, welcomed them. "Open a channel to the fleet," Zephyr ordered. As Talon complied, Zephyr took a deep breath, knowing that his next words would shape the destiny of his entire species. "This is Captain Zephyr Stormwind," he began, his voice carrying across the vast armada of humanity. "We stand at the threshold of a new era. The Void Weavers threaten not just our existence, but the very fabric of reality itself. To face this threat, we must evolve, transcend our current limitations." He paused, feeling the weight of countless lives hanging on his words. "What we're about to attempt has never been done before. We may lose our physical forms, our individual identities, but we will gain something greater, the power to safeguard not just humanity, but all of creation." As Zephyr spoke, he felt a familiar presence. The cosmic form of Axel Voren materialized beside him, visible only to his enhanced perception. His ancestor nodded in approval, a gesture of support that strengthened Zephyr's resolve. "Remember who we are," Zephyr continued. "We are explorers, dreamers, innovators. From the depths of our oceans to the farthest reaches of space, we have always pushed the boundaries of what's possible. Today, we take the greatest leap in our history. Together, we will redefine what it means to be human." A chorus of affirmations echoed across the calm channels. Zephyr could feel the collective will of humanity focusing, their awakened potential surging in response to his words. "Prepare for cosmic synchronization," Zephyr commanded. "On my mark, we enter the crucible as one." The fleet moved into final position, forming a vast array around the swirling energies of the nexus point. Zephyr closed his eyes, reaching out with his expanded consciousness to touch the minds of every human in the fleet. He felt their fear, their excitement, their determination. "Now," Zephyr called out, his voice resonating across dimensions. As one, the fleet surged forward. The Nova Strike led the charge, piercing the outer layers of the crucible's swirling energies. Reality itself seemed to shudder as millions of awakened humans crossed the threshold. Zephyr felt his physical form begin to dissolve, his consciousness expanding beyond the confines of his mortal shell. Around him, he sensed the same happening to his crew, to every human in the fleet. They were becoming something more, something beyond. But as they delved deeper into the heart of the crucible, Zephyr sensed a disturbance. A darkness, a void that threatened to consume the very energies of transformation. The Void Weavers had found them. As humanity teetered on the brink of cosmic ascension, their greatest enemies moved to strike. The battle for the future of all reality was about to begin, and Zephyr Stormwind found himself at the center of a conflict that would reshape the very nature of existence. The resonance of eternity pulsed with newfound urgency, and the fate of the multiverse hung in the balance. Within the swirling maelstrom of the crucible, time and space lost all meaning. Zephyr's consciousness expanded, merging with the collective essence of humanity. He was everywhere and nowhere, a single point of awareness in an ocean of infinite potential. But even in this state of cosmic flux, the threat of the Void Weavers loomed. Their presence was a discordant note in the symphony of creation, a cancer seeking to unravel the very fabric of reality. Zephyr focused his will, drawing upon the combined strength of millions of awakened humans. He perceived the Void Weavers not as physical entities, but as gaps in the cosmic tapestry, areas where the resonance of eternity fell silent. "Hold fast," Zephyr's thoughts echoed across the collective consciousness of humanity. "We must complete our transformation before the Void Weavers can tear us apart." The response was immediate. Zephyr felt the surge of human will, a tidal wave of determination that pushed back against the encroaching void. But it wasn't enough. The Void Weavers were ancient, their power honed over eons of unmaking realities. As the battle raged on multiple planes of existence, Zephyr sensed a familiar presence. Axel Voren's cosmic form materialized within the collective consciousness, a beacon of wisdom and power. "The key lies in harmony." "Zephyr," Axel's thoughts resonated. "The Void Weavers seek to create discord, to shatter the resonance of creation. You must find the counterpoint, the perfect frequency to negate their influence." Understanding bloomed within Zephyr's expanded mind. He reached out, touching the consciousness of every human in the crucible. "Listen," he called out. "Feel the rhythm of creation, the pulse of the cosmos. We must synchronize, become one with the resonance of eternity. Across the vast expanse of the crucible, humanity responded. Zephyr felt their minds aligning, their awakened potential harmonizing into a single, pure note of cosmic energy. It started as a whisper, a faint vibration against the onslaught of the Void Weavers. But it grew. The harmony of human consciousness swelled, becoming a symphony that echoed across dimensions. Zephyr directed this cosmic chorus, weaving it into a barrier that pushed back against the encroaching void. The Void Weavers recoiled, their form writhing as they encountered a force they had never before experienced, the unified will of an entire species on the brink of ascension. But the battle was far from over. As humanity's power grew, so too did the desperation of the Void Weavers. They redoubled their efforts, pouring more of their anti-creation essence into the crucible. Zephyr felt the strain, the immense pressure of holding back forces that could unmake entire universes. He knew they were at a tipping point. Either humanity would complete its transformation and ascend to a new level of existence, or they would be torn apart, their essence scattered across the multiverse. In this moment of crisis, Zephyr made a decision. He pushed himself to the forefront of the collective, becoming a focal point for humanity's power. "Through me," he called out. "Channel your energy through me." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Zephyr felt the full might of humanity's potential coursing through his being. He became a conduit, a living embodiment of humanity's hopes, dreams, and indomitable spirit. With a thought that shook the foundations of reality, Zephyr unleashed this power against the Void Weavers. The crucible itself seemed to resonate with the force of the attack, amplifying it beyond anything Zephyr had imagined possible. The Void Weavers screamed, a sound that echoed across dimensions. Their shadowy forms began to disintegrate, unable to withstand the pure creative force that Zephyr had unleashed. As the last of the Void Weavers faded from existence, Zephyr felt a shift in the cosmic energies surrounding them. The crucible pulsed, recognizing that humanity had passed its ultimate test. The transformation that had been interrupted could now be completed. Zephyr felt his consciousness expanding even further, touching the very edges of creation. Around him, he sensed the same happening to every human in the crucible. They were ascending, becoming something more than human, yet carrying with them the essence of what humanity had always been: explorers, dreamers, creators. As the light of their ascension grew blinding, Zephyr had one last coherent thought. "We did it. We've changed the course of cosmic history." Then, in a flash of energy that rippled across the multiverse, humanity transcended. The resonance of eternity swelled to a crescendo, and a new chapter in the story of existence began. In the aftermath of humanity's ascension, the cosmos itself seemed to hold its breath. The crucible of eternity pulsed with residual energy, its purpose fulfilled. Where once a fleet of human ships had gathered, now there was only a swirling nebula of cosmic consciousness. Zephyr Stormwind, no longer bound by physical form, found himself adrift in an ocean of infinite awareness. He was at once himself and part of a greater whole, his individual identity merging seamlessly with the collective essence of ascended humanity. As his consciousness expanded, Zephyr began to perceive the true nature of reality. The multiverse stretched out before him, an intricate tapestry of interconnected dimensions. He saw the flow of time not as a linear progression, but as a complex web of possibilities branching out in every direction. Remarkable, isn't it? The familiar resonance of Axel Voren's thoughts touched Zephyr's awareness. This is what we've been safeguarding all this time. Zephyr's attention focused, coalescing into a semblance of his former self as he faced his ascended ancestor. "It's beautiful," he responded, his thoughts carrying the weight of newfound understanding. "But what now? What is our role in all of this?" Axel's form shimmered, a smile playing across his ethereal features. "That, my young friend, is up to you to decide. Humanity has ascended, but the cosmos still needs guardians. The Void Weavers may be defeated, but other threats will arise. The balance must be maintained." As they communed, Zephyr became aware of the rest of humanity's collective consciousness stirring around them. millions of minds, each grappling with their new existence, each coming to terms with the vastness of their newfound perception. Zephyr reached out, touching the thoughts of his former crew. Talon, Archer, and the others, all of them changed, yet still carrying the essence of who they had been. He felt their awe, their excitement, and their determination to embrace this new reality. But amidst the wonder, Zephyr sensed something else. A ripple of concern spreading through the collective consciousness. As he focused on it, he understood the cause. Not all of humanity had ascended. Across the galaxy, on Earth and distant colonies, there were humans who had not been part of the fleet, who had not entered the crucible. They remained mortal, unchanged, now separated from their ascended brethren by an unbridgeable gulf of existence. We can't abandon them, Zephyr's thoughts resonated with conviction. We may have transcended our physical forms, but we're still human at our core. We have a responsibility to those we left behind. Axel nodded, approval radiating from his cosmic form. And that, Zephyr, is why you were chosen to lead humanity into this new era. You understand that with great power comes great responsibility. Zephyr's consciousness expanded, reaching out to touch the minds of every ascended human. Listen, he projected, his thoughts carrying across the vast expanse of their collective awareness. We have achieved something incredible, but our journey is not over. We have the power to reshape reality, to safeguard existence itself. But we must not forget our roots, our connection to those who remain mortal. He felt the collective stir, millions of minds focusing on his words. I propose a new purpose for our ascended species, Zephyr continued. We will be guardians, not just of the cosmic balance, but of life itself. We will watch over our mortal brethren, guide them, protect them, and perhaps, in time, help them join us in this new state of being. Agreement rippled through the collective consciousness. Zephyr felt the approval of his former crew, their loyalty and trust transcending their transformation. Axel's form began to fade, his purpose fulfilled. The mantle of leadership suits you, Zephyr Stormwind. Guide them well. As Axel vanished, Zephyr felt the weight of responsibility settle upon him. The ascended humanity looked to him for direction, for purpose in this vast new existence. With a thought, Zephyr began to organize their collective power. He assigned tasks, created councils to oversee different aspects of their new reality. Some would watch over the mortal realm, others would explore the farthest reaches of the multiverse, and still others would stand guard against any threats that might arise. As the ascended humanity began to take shape as a cosmic force, Zephyr allowed himself a moment of reflection. They had come so far, achieved so much, but he knew that this was just the beginning. The resonance of eternity hummed with new purpose, and the next chapter in humanity's cosmic journey was about to unfold. Eons passed in the blink of a cosmic eye. Zephyr Stormwind, once a mortal starship captain, now the guiding consciousness of ascended humanity, watched over the tapestry of existence with unwavering vigilance. Under his guidance, the ascended humans had become true cosmic guardians. They safeguarded the delicate balance of the multiverse, nurturing young civilizations and protecting reality from threats that lurked in the spaces between dimensions. But Zephyr never forgot their connection to their mortal origins. On Earth and countless colony worlds, humanity continued to evolve and grow, unaware of their ascended protectors watching from beyond the veil of normal space-time. On this particular moment in eternity, Zephyr's attention was drawn to a familiar solar system. Earth, the cradle of humanity, was facing a crisis. A massive solar flare, far beyond anything their technology could handle, threatened to scorch the planet's surface. Talon, Zephyr communicated across the cosmic consciousness. Assemble a team. It's time we reminded our mortal brethren that they're not alone in the universe. In an instant, Talon's essence coalesced beside him, along with several other ascended humans who had once been part of the Nova Strike's crew. Just like old times, Captain? Talon's thoughts carried a hint of his former wry humor, even in this transcendent state. Zephyr's cosmic form rippled with amusement. Some things never change, old friend. Let's go save the world. As one, they focused their collective will, bending the fabric of reality to manifest in Earth's atmosphere. To the humans below, they appeared as beings of pure energy, their forms reminiscent of the angels of ancient mythology. Zephyr reached out with his cosmic senses, assessing the approaching solar flare. With a thought, he and his team began to weave a barrier of pure energy around the planet, a shield that would deflect the deadly radiation. As they worked, Zephyr became aware of the reactions below. Panic gave way to awe as humans around the world witnessed their impossible salvation. In command centers and living rooms alike, people watched in wonder as godlike beings held back the fury of their own star. Once the immediate threat was averted, Zephyr knew it was time to make contact. He focused his consciousness, projecting his thoughts to every mind on the planet simultaneously. "People of Earth," he began, his mental voice resonating with the wisdom of eons, "we were once as you are. We are humanity ascended, your protectors and guides. You stand on the brink of a great leap forward. The cosmos awaits, and we are here to light the way." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Zephyr felt the surge of emotions from billions of minds: fear, hope, excitement, disbelief. But underlying it all was a sense of wonder, a reawakening of humanity's innate desire to explore and understand the universe. As the ascended team prepared to withdraw, Zephyr left them with a final message. "Look to the stars with hope, for you are not alone. Your potential is limitless, and your destiny lies beyond the confines of this world. We will be watching, guiding, waiting for the day when you are ready to join us." With that, Zephyr and his team faded from physical perception, returning to their cosmic vigil. But their brief appearance had changed everything. Around the world, governments and institutions scrambled to make sense of what had happened. Scientists pored over readings and recordings, seeking to understand the nature of their saviors. More importantly, a fire had been lit in the collective human consciousness. The knowledge that they were part of something greater, that their ascended brethren watched over them, sparked a renaissance of scientific and spiritual exploration. As Zephyr observed the aftermath from his cosmic vantage point, he felt a sense of pride and hope. This was just the beginning. Slowly but surely, humanity would find its way to the stars, and eventually, to ascension. "Well done, Zephyr," Axel Voron's familiar presence brushed against his consciousness. "You've given them hope, a glimpse of their true potential." Zephyr's cosmic form pulsed with determination. "And we'll be here, guiding them every step of the way. The journey of humanity is far from over." As they turned their attention back to the vast expanse of the multiverse, Zephyr knew that the greatest chapters of human history were yet to be written. The resonance of eternity continued to hum, a cosmic symphony of infinite possibilities. And humanity, both mortal and ascended, would play a crucial role in the grand design of existence itself. Centuries passed in the mortal realm, mere moments to the ascended consciousness of Zephyr and his cosmic brethren. They watched as humanity, inspired by their brief encounter with their ascended kin, made great leaps in technology and understanding. Zephyr observed with pride as humans colonized their solar system, then reached out to nearby stars. They made contact with other species, formed alliances, and began to take their place as a significant force in the galaxy. But with progress came new challenges. As humanity expanded, they encountered remnants of the Void Weaver's influence, pockets of anti-creation that threatened to unravel reality. It was time for Zephyr and the ascended humans to take a more active role in guiding their mortal counterparts. "Talon," Zephyr communicated across the cosmic consciousness, "it's time for the next phase. Prepare the Nexus beacons." The Nexus beacons were constructs of pure cosmic energy, designed to act as focal points for the ascended humans' influence in the physical realm. They would serve as guideposts for humanity's journey towards their cosmic destiny. Zephyr and his team materialized in key locations across human-controlled space. To mortal eyes, they appeared as pillars of swirling energy, each one a testament to the power and wisdom of their ascended brethren. At the site of the first beacon, on a planet at the edge of human space, Zephyr addressed the gathered crowd of colonists and officials. "Children of Earth," his voice resonated not just through the air, but directly into the minds of all present. We have watched your progress with pride. You have taken your first steps into the cosmic community, but greater challenges lie ahead. He gestured to the Nexus beacon, its energy pulsing in sync with his words. These beacons will guide you towards your true potential. They are gateways to knowledge, to power, and to understanding. But be warned, they will also attract the attention of forces that seek to undo creation itself. As Zephyr spoke, he became aware of a disturbance in the cosmic tapestry. Something was stirring in the depths of space, an echo of the Void Weaver's malevolent influence. You must prepare, Zephyr continued, his tone gaining urgency. The universe is vast and full of wonders, but also dangers beyond your current comprehension. These beacons will help you face those dangers, but the strength to overcome them must come from within. As the humans absorbed his words, Zephyr felt a surge of determination emanating from their collective consciousness. They were ready to face the challenges ahead, to prove themselves worthy of their cosmic heritage. Suddenly, alarms blared across the colony. The planet's long-range sensors had detected something approaching, a wave of void energy that defied all known laws of physics. Zephyr's cosmic senses confirmed his fears. It was a resurgence of the anti-creation force, a last desperate attempt by the remnants of the Void Weavers to undo the work of the ascended humans. Stand firm, Zephyr commanded, his form blazing with cosmic power. This is your first true test. Use the beacon, channel your collective will. Show the cosmos that humanity is ready to take its place among the guardians of creation. As the void energy approached, Zephyr and his ascended team prepared to face it. But they would not fight this battle alone. Across human space, at each Nexus beacon, mortal humans joined their will with that of their ascended brethren. The resonance of eternity swelled, a harmony of mortal and cosmic consciousness united in purpose. Zephyr felt the surge of human potential, raw and untamed but burning with fierce determination. As the wave of anti-creation crashed against their defenses, Zephyr knew that this battle would shape the future of humanity and their place in the cosmic order. The next phase of their journey was beginning, and the universe itself watched with bated breath. The ascended humans had set the stage, but now it was time for their mortal counterparts to prove their worth. The true test of humanity's cosmic potential was at hand, and the fate of creation itself hung in the balance. The void energy crashed against the combined will of ascended and mortal humans like a tsunami of uncreation. Zephyr stood at the forefront, his cosmic form blazing with the accumulated wisdom and power of eons. Around him, the mortal humans channeled their awakening potential through the Nexus beacon, their consciousness resonating with a frequency that defied the encroaching darkness. Hold the line, Zephyr's voice echoed across dimensions, bolstering the resolve of every human engaged in the battle. Feel the resonance within you, the echo of your cosmic heritage. You are more than flesh and blood, you are the guardians of creation itself. As the conflict raged, Zephyr became aware of a familiar presence. Axel Voron's cosmic consciousness brushed against his own, a touch of reassurance in the chaos of battle. You've prepared them well, Zephyr, Axel communicated. Now it's time to see if humanity is truly ready for the next step in their evolution. Zephyr understood. This wasn't just a battle against the remnants of the Void Weavers. It was a crucible, a test of humanity's readiness to ascend as a species. The ascended humans could not simply defeat this threat for their mortal brethren. Humanity had to prove itself worthy of cosmic guardianship. With this realization, Zephyr made a decision. He began to withdraw his direct influence, carefully scaling back the power he was exerting against the void energy. To the mortal humans, it would seem as if the tide of battle was turning against them. The power to overcome this threat lies within you, Zephyr projected to the straining humans. We can guide you, show you the way, but the strength must be your own. Reach deep, find the resonance of eternity that dwells in every atom of your being. Across human space, at each Nexus beacon, the scene was the same. Ascended humans pulling back, allowing their mortal counterparts to bear the brunt of the cosmic assault. For a moment, it seemed as if all might be lost. The void energy pressed in, threatening to unravel reality itself. But then, something remarkable happened. At the edge of human space, a young colonist named Alex, barely out of his teens, felt something awaken within him. It was as if a veil had been lifted from his mind, allowing him to perceive the underlying structure of reality. With a thought, he reached out and grasped the threads of creation, weaving them into a barrier against the encroaching void. On Earth, Dr. Alara Singh, a quantum physicist, suddenly understood the equations that had eluded her for years. In a flash of insight, she saw how to harmonize the frequency of human consciousness with a cosmic resonance. Her discovery spread across the planet like wildfire, empowering millions to join the battle. All across human-controlled space, individuals began to awaken to their true potential. It wasn't a full ascension, not yet, but it was a monumental leap forward. Humanity as a whole was evolving, taking the first steps towards becoming a truly cosmic species. Zephyr watched with pride as the tide of battle turned. The mortal humans, now awakened to their latent abilities, pushed back against the void energy with a fervor that rivaled their ascended brethren. The Nexus beacons pulsed with power, amplifying the collective will of humanity and focusing it against the cosmic threat. In a final, cataclysmic surge of energy, the remnants of the Void Weaver's influence were shattered. The void energy dissipated, banished back to the spaces between realities. As the cosmic dust settled, Zephyr materialized before the gathered humans, his form radiant with approval. "You have done well," he proclaimed, his voice carrying across the stars. "Today, you have proven that humanity is ready to take its place among the cosmic guardians." The response was a wave of jubilation and awe. Humans across the galaxy celebrated not just their victory, but the dawning realization of their true nature and potential. Zephyr turned to his fellow ascended humans, feeling a sense of completion. "Our work here is done," he communicated. "They are ready for the next phase of their journey." As the ascended humans prepared to return to their cosmic vigil, Zephyr left humanity with one final message. "The path before you is long and fraught with challenges beyond imagination. But you have shown that you have the strength, the wisdom, and the unity to face whatever the cosmos may throw at you. Go forth, children of Earth. The universe awaits." With that, Zephyr and his ascended brethren faded from physical perception, returning to their role as silent guardians and guides. But their legacy remained a humanity awakened to its cosmic potential, ready to forge its destiny among the stars. As Zephyr resumed his cosmic vigil, he felt a profound sense of pride and hope. The resonance of eternity hummed with new possibilities, and the next great chapter in the story of humanity was about to begin. The journey that had started with a single quantum leap had led to this moment, humanity poised on the brink of true cosmic ascension. And whatever challenges lay ahead, Zephyr knew that they would face them together, as guardians of creation itself. The resonance of eternity swelled to a crescendo, and the universe itself seemed to hold its breath in anticipation of what was to come.